This episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/wickedtheory. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
You're listening to the Wicked Theory Podcast.
We're very happy to have you back, even for a short visit.
And here we go.
Broadcasting to you live from aboard the Eagle 5, where we're going right to ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed? Sir, we've never gone that fast before. I don't know if the ship can take it.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? This is the Wicked Theory Podcast. I'll clap. I'll be the only guy every time that claps. For us. All right. See, Jay always got it. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
boys
you,
and girls,
guys.
this
Thank
is the
you.
Wicked Theory Podcast. And those sounds you just heard were made by the people surrounding me, these cool fellows indeed. We got Jay.
I don't feel like a cool fellow right now after you just yelled at me in the intro.
All right. I'll show you. I'll demonstrate for you in a moment why I had to yell at you.
Why would God fill me with this desire if I wasn't meant to be with her?
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then I got my brother Bob. He's good, folks.
I don't think you actually said my name, Bill.
I'm not going to bother anymore
Okay.
because you're never you.
Brought to you by John Goodman.
You're always acting, and you're so deep in character, I can't tell who you are anymore.
I just
Let
quote-
me apologize to Jay for yelling at Jay
I don't care.
for clapping
I've been
right.
getting yelled at my whole life. Don't worry
Oh, all
about
right,
it.
then. Fine, fair enough.
I've never even seen the movie. I was just quoting.
There you go.
I'm just waiting for the day that it comes in full arachnophobia gear. And
That's what you
does
should
the
be
show.
for
That's the
Halloween.
level of
The
commitment.
next level.
Gotcha.
That's what you
The
need to
next
be
level
for
of
Halloween.
commitment.
What movie was that from, Ed?
One Night at McCool's.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was actually not a bad movie.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun romp.
Who else is in that?
It's Michael Douglas, Matt Dillon, Liv Tyler.
Oh, okay.
Angel Dice Clay
Is
is in
that
it,
the
I think.
movie where
Yeah.
Paul Reiser.
they did where they brought that damn Neil Diamond song back to life?
I'm not sure.
Come on, Eileen. No, not Come on, Eileen.
I think that was Ford Fairlane too.
Sweet
No.
Caroline.
Was it? Yes. No. That's
What?
Beautiful Girls.
Beautiful.
That's
I knew it was-
Beautiful Girls.
I knew it was some.
That's
horrible
Ted Demme,
movie.
man. Rest in peace.
Because in that movie they all sing it, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And it had to just permeate the rest of the world.
Well, it's always been a thing. Everybody sings that at the bar.
Yeah, but after that movie, it really became like a.
Well, that's why
Oh,
they put it
well,
in the movie.
Yeah, to kind of seep
know.
it into your brain.
It's a little bit of American society.
They were hoping to kind of get that whole kind of cross
Yeah.
success. Well, that's success, but not much because I couldn't remember the name of the movie
Yeah.
unless it was called Sweet Caroline. Then,
That was Beautiful Girls, it was called.
Beautiful girl.
ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 111. Welcome to it.
We're 11-1. This is a long expected party.
It is. It is. I told. It's almost now. It's going too slow.
Yeah.
You see, you told me to.
I know. No. I'm not. I'm saying it's almost feels like that because it's different. I said to Bob and Jason.
Yeah.
Jason. His name is. I forgot. I
Jay.
said to them before the show. I was like, last week we were moving really fast when we opened up the
How
show.
fast are we moving, Bill?
Like really fast.
Like, we were going with the non sequiturs like we were all shooting Gatling guns.
yeah. It was
And
like
we need to like leave it at like single shot shotguns. So
I
we
think
have
it's
to keep
fun.
reloading, you know.
I think
there
that's
are moments. There are moments.
that's what singles us out from the rest. That we have fun with it.
So we were going at warp speed.
I would say
But-
we were going at
but-
ludicrous
But
speed.
you want us to go like just simple, basic
Hyperspace.
light speed.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
light speed, hyperspace is good.
There's
You know?
only certain times when we're allowed to go plaid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The intro isn't one of them.
I
Like,
mean-
you want us slow enough that if we're gonna be alive at the other end, we may have to go into cryogenic freezing.
Well, I want it to be kind of like, I don't know, if you feel this, where everybody's getting a turn. This was not what it was last week. It was layering. It was a lot of real fast layering, where it's like, if there are jokes in here, I can't hear them. But anyway,
Kind of like a Deadpool movie.
except like,
Not funny.
two Deadpool movies playing at the same time.
I thought it was funny.
One's like 5 seconds faster than the other one.
So you don't want like Grant Gustin Flash. You want like John Wesley Shipp Flash, or maybe even like Super Friends Flash.
I want a different analogy altogether right now. That's
Okay.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, whenever you say John Wesley Shipp Flash, I just can't help but thinking of a guy in a styrofoam suit.
He's not wrong.
It was velvet or suede or
It
something.
was something. It was painted to look like it anyway. It looked very like.
It actually looked like a
Swedish.
velvet.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. It looked like a velvet painting.
Yeah, it did. It was like, why is it so dirty and all
And
the
that was
seams?
considered
If I turn
expensive.
up all the lights, will it glow in the dark?
Those episodes were like $1 million a shot, I think. You
I
know,
was so impressed back then by that suit. All right, let me get finished with the opening official business.
Well, speaking of TV shows based on DC Comics,
Yeah, the DC TV report went big this week. We went double size. Well,
It was more like
compared to its
quadruple
normal size, it's like some
Yes.
number I can't do that math.
we did a full season wrap up.
Oh boy, of like little reviews of every show,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And,
yes, we did Powerless, Gotham, Lucifer,
Arrow, Flash,
Wow, you guys-
Legends.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl.
Yeah, Saturday Morning Press,
Yes.
PBS Hour.
Yeah, and we even talked about some shows that are coming up, like Preacher,
Yeah.
and some other new shows.
But it was so big, we broke it into two pieces.
Yes,
It was like two.
Time of the preacher.
It was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It had to be split up.
with two very special guests.
With two very special guests. Who are they? Tell us who they were.
From Gotham Lights, Stephanie Muniz,
Mm-hmm.
and Sarah Netzley, freelance writer for Entertainment Weekly.
That's right.
Both previous guests on the show.
And both ladies.
Yes.
So,
Ooh.
you know,
Yeah,
There's
so,
that.
So if you want to hear Bill and I get smacked around a little bit,
yeah, basically. Basically.
We always like to hear that.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Listen to me and Ed get put in our place.
yes,
At least once, probably. But knowing the two of them
yes, in the most non-violent.
and friendly way.
Well, what
Friendly
kind of
way.
fun is that, man? Fuck.
Well, it's actually probably funny on a listen back because in the moment you don't realize you just got shut down. But then when you
yes.
listen back, you're like, hey, wait a minute.
I still like the episode of where the Flash rant, where you guys went back and forth, and Ed just got his ass handed to him. That whole episode.
I started to get locked into it again, Jay, because we covered the Flash. So that shit all started
Yeah,
coming back to
yeah.
the surface.
Yes, but thankfully I had some backup.
Yeah, who more or less were agreeing with me, but they would. But I was just gonna stay in the dark, dour zone about it. They were all trying to find but there's redeeming qualities, and I was like, no, they used to be. All right, so people should go check that out.
Yeah, I know one redeeming quality.
Which is
It's still okay for 8-year-olds to watch.
there you go. Kids love it. But yeah, so people go check that out, especially if you've been enjoying the DC TV report and you've finished watching all those shows. You don't mind some spoilers.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're in the feed. So if you're listening to this, you can go listen to that. Also, Jay teased it a little bit. With a little Preacher reference in there. And
Yes.
Ed teased it a little bit. But
Time of the preacher.
Preacher's coming back this week. For us, it's Saturday right now. Episode's going to air on Sunday and another one on Monday. And I think we're going to record a show on Tuesday.
It's gonna be a twofer.
We're going to kind of
I've got
do
to cover two episodes in one shot.
There you go. And it's going to be me, Bob, and Dom. At least for that one. And then we're going to kind of like have, I think we're going to have like one person each episode We'll try have like either on the Skype or sitting in. We'll do like one at a time. So this way it doesn't get like
Cool.
too kooky or crazy too fast.
I'll
Now,
binge it.
we did actually develop one or two little connections with the show.
Yeah, well,
So-
Sarah, who we mentioned before, was on an episode or two.
And there was someone involved with the special effects, right?
Yeah, Lengsfelser and Kevin. He was emailing the show once in a while. He was checking it out. He was reminding us to be patient.
Yeah,
Because he was a big fan. He was a big fan of the book too, and that's why he was actually listening to our show. So it was nice to have him touch base, and if I can just make him happy, I'll be happy.
Yeah, well, you know what? That wouldn't be a bad thing, I think, because how many listeners do we have comparatively on shows? You know, if we're making one person happy, we're making a good percentage of our audience happy.
Yeah, hey, look, any slice is nice. So that's coming back. I know Jay's he's planning on catching up. You got the first season on Blu-ray, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna binge watch that sometime in the next week or so. So once I do that, I'll be happy to come on one of the shows one day.
Oh, I didn't invite you.
Yeah.
I just invited myself.
yeah,
I
which is
just
fine.
invited myself.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that one's gonna come in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I have the opposite problem. I've seen all the shows. It's just reading the books.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know. It's
That is part of the
It's-
requisite. And,
I'm-
Jay's claims to have read them.
yeah.
I'm not making anybody take a test.
I'm
but
not-
You put your foot in your mouth.
I would fail that test because it's
been so long.
I read them years ago.
Hey, Bill, but for the record, how many
not
times
all
have
of
you read all the way through the story?
I was on my second reading of it
Okay.
during last season, but realized that there was no reason to go that fast and far ahead once the show started because it was like, well, nothing of season 1 is here. Of book 1 is really here in season 1. Oh, so very little of it. So I was
That's
like,
true.
okay, I could put the brakes on it.
Right.
Which was why I put the brakes on promoting that show as the whole read the
Comparison.
book, watch the show. Like that's our hook,
Right.
hook. And like I kind of really laid off on promoting it this season. Like I didn't, I don't know. I figured let's just see where it goes this season, and then if I got to recommit and push a little harder.
I don't know. Some
Get
of
the word out?
Some of the previews does look like it's.
It seems to be lining up
Yeah.
a little bit more from the previews. Maybe not so much, but I got a feeling that previews are kind of taking most of it from like the first episode. But the buzz is from a lot of the preview reviews that have come out and from people who work on the show that yes, it's the books finally. So there's that.
Well, that's
So
good.
there's that.
Nicely
yeah.
done.
Well, if any of our listeners want to find out, they're gonna have to listen on Tuesday.
Yeah, probably Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Episode will probably drop Wednesday.
Okay.
But could even drop late Tuesday night. But yeah, so that's basically what's in the official business. Thanks to everybody who sends us emails. If you want to send an email, we'll be getting to those later with some other segments. But you can send emails to podcast@wickedtheory.com. News, emails, DCTV report at some point. Oh shit, we might have to do that last minute thing. I forgot to put it in that. Remember last time we did that thing with the I threw you the cord and
Okay.
we went through your
You did a
laptop.
thing.
Well,
You did a thing last time.
we'll keep an eye out for the sudden bursts of insane volume.
Yeah.
Cash, yeah. So who's hanging out with us, Ed? Who's in the chat room? Does
Oh.
anybody have the chat room open?
we got John Zombie John Thompson.
Johnny Zoms.
Yes.
So I'm gonna
How you
call him
doing?
from now on. Johnny Zoms.
Johnny Zoms, and we got 3 elsewheres.
Oh, Elsie, and Elsie. That's what their names are. Thanks for listening, Elsewheres. Elsewheres are the people who just aren't logged into the chat. We can't see who you are, but we
Yeah, I
know.
don't know if I have anything to do with that.
I might be one of them myself. I could be talking to myself right
Yeah.
now.
What are the odds of 3 people named Elsie Ware in the chat room?
You know what I mean? You wouldn't think that was a common name.
Yeah.
Abby Normal. Elsie Ware.
There you go.
Amanda Hug and Kiss.
Remember Elsie the cow?
Demand a hug and kiss. I got a chat game.
Hey, we got a chat game.
You know, in honor of Preacher, for everybody who listens to
Oh,
that.
and Wesley's in.
watch-
He's in and out because he's on
Wesley.
Oh, that's true.
No excuse.
he's on overtime right now.
A little taste. A little taste for anybody who's.
It's gonna be an explosion.
This segment's sponsored by Preacher vs. Preacher, the podcast that we do on a different channel. It's Preacher vs. Preacher. This is a little bit. This is the song that's stuck in Jay's head right now.
In the year of
So you want to throw up a chat game?
We could do that.
when you think it's all over,
Oh yeah. I'm starting to feel it.
it's only begun.
And then I would intro the show right there. All right. We got. Let's see how this one goes. All right. It's a little different. Superhero headlines
In real life.
in real life.
IRL.
IRL. That's right.
Examples include
Yeah.
family upset Superman, save them, but not their fish. Or boy bitten by exotic spider on class trip, lawsuit claims.
These kinds of things, you know? I mean, look, go any which way you want with it. We can make it tabloid-ish, whatever's easy for you. But just like if you were living in a real world right now, like, you know, what would be headlines in the paper? I don't know. You know, if you were living in the MCU, you know, these kinds of things. You know, I'm sure there'd be all kinds of crazy conspiracy stuff. But go crazy with the kids. See how that goes. I think it might be a little bit of a challenge, but you guys have fooled me and blown my mind before with these kinds of games. And then it takes us into the newsy zone.
Oh, wait, the news zone.
Boy, do we have some news for everybody this week.
It's been a busy week.
Busy week.
Shit hit the
News o'clock.
It's been newsy, baby.
News o'clock, baby.
News o'clock, buddy.
News time.
So yeah,
So, yeah.
you know that young Han Solo movie
No.
Yeah.
that's been in production since February?
No, tell us,
Yeah.
Ed. Please
yeah,
tell
It's
us.
being directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yeah, I
the
remember
guys
that.
who did The Lego
Yeah.
movie.
I think some people were looking forward to
21
that.
Jump Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fired.
Oh.
They're not doing it anymore.
I should have done a spit take as well.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yes. So there's 3 weeks left in principal photography, and I believe they have another 5 weeks of reshoots scheduled.
I heard they thought they were on the set of the Kentucky Fried Movie too.
Basically, it seems like
Yeah. So
that's the scuttlebutt.
creative differences are being cited.
Mm-hmm.
The basic gist that we've gotten from Hollywood Reporter and from other sources is that they didn't, were really paying attention to shooting what was in the script.
Well, here's the
and
line.
trying to add random jokes into every scene.
The line was that from the Reporter article that their inside source said, Han Solo is is not a comedic character. He's he's sarcastic and something else.
Cocky, arrogant.
No,
kind
but
of
that's
a
the same
guy.
thing.
But that's
It was-
the character of Han Solo.
But anyway, it's not that he's a comedic. Right, he's not a comedic foible. He's selfish.
Yes.
Did I say
sarcastic
selfish?
and selfish.
Sarcastic and selfish.
That was a quote from Lawrence Kasdan, the screenwriter,
Right.
who also wrote Empire Strikes Back, Return of the
Oh,
Jedi.
okay.
And
that was
Force Awakens with
So-
JJ.
Hey, yes.
So the implication there for a lot of people is that basically these guys who are from a comedy background, that's what they know. You know what I mean? So they were probably turning in dailies that just seemed and felt like a little too hard on Han being the jokey kind of guy, which is
So yeah, but so Ron Howard's been tapped to finish the project.
Saved. Project saved.
yeah.
He's a very solid director.
Yes, he is.
Always has been, pretty much from the get-go too.
I'll let Ed finish, so I'll give my take.
I'm just shocked that this is happening so deep into production. Usually, this kind of stuff,
Comes to a head early
before
on.
the cameras start rolling.
Usually right before.
Yeah.
Usually it's like after script development and those final last minutes before they get into shooting. That
Yeah.
window, that seems to be where.
It totally sounds like these guys said, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to do what we're going to do, and you guys are going to love it. And when they got when the heads got wind of it, they basically said, you know what? No, you know what? We're the bosses. You guys are out of here. Fuck you.
It probably came down to them saying, well, look, there's a whole bunch of stuff we want you to reshoot because it doesn't fit. And they were like, well, we think it does for what we're trying to make. And it's like, well, if you're not willing to reshoot it or you don't know how to reshoot it because that's the only way you can see it, then we're done here.
Well, being the biggest fan of Star Wars at this table, I would say.
I think that's fair.
I was never on board, nor did I like the fact that they were attached as directors. I actually, for that same reason.
Sure.
You know what I mean? 21 Jump Street and
The Lego movie.
And the Lego movie. I mean, they're good at comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're going to take Lawrence Kasdan's writing and start throwing in these stupid jokes,
Yeah.
I would have gotten them the fuck out of there too.
Yeah, if it starts turning into like this ad libby Will Ferrell kind of thing where it's like, okay, well, let's shoot to the script and then we'll do some takes.
And the first choice to actually step in as director was Lawrence Kasdan, but he couldn't do it because of certain DGA rules about something with he's credited as writer and it's
He
in
can't replace a
production.
director or something, probably.
He can't rereplace a director while it's in progress.
Right.
So what did they do? They just pulled out the guns and got Ron Howard, who's basically saved the entire production from being a mess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's a solid director. We all know that. You know what I mean? He's not
never-
afraid to hit dark tones either. We've seen that. So this is actually great fucking news, according to me. So I'm very happy with this.
No, I agree with you. Like it's nothing to worry about,
know what I mean?
anymore in a sense where it's like, sure, like he'll have to clean up certain things maybe, But does that mean like he's going to have to reshoot everything?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no.
if,
How hard is it for these two guys now? How hard is it going to be for them to get work after?
No,
this?
Well,
I mean-
see, like here's the thing, is like these guys are everywhere. Like they've
got other shit going
Yeah, they've
on.
got so much other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised because they did this instead of doing the Flash movie.
Right.
They were hired. They were going to do the Flash movie, then they passed on that to do Han Solo.
Right.
So and that movie's gone through 2 more directors since then. So I would not be surprised if they end up directing the Flash movie.
Right.
but it may suffer the same fate
yeah.
of them throwing corny jokes every other line, and
Well, this might have been a little smack on
Yeah.
the wrist that maybe makes them wake up and see that certain projects, it's at least to the studio, like you got to deliver the tone that they're asking for.
right, I don't dislike them
Right.
either. Like I loved the Lego movie. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Even 21
sure.
Jump Street was funny, but I wish them well. But they weren't a fit for this.
No, and by the resume, you could even argue that they're probably not too perfect of a fit for Flash either. But
Right.
No, well, they'd probably
Right.
walk in there and say, "All right, let's turn the Flash into Spider-Man," and that runs.
No,
which
I mean,
is not for nothing, seems to kind of be like a little bit of the way that they're going for Flash of what we've seen.
Yeah, I think Ezra Miller kind of fits that.
Yeah, that kind of like odd,
It's
disjointed
something that-
kind of comedy.
That's going to be a little quirkier and brighter.
Yeah, as opposed to like I'm making literal jokes and puns. I'm trying hard to be the funny guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying stuff
Right.
that's
Yeah.
happens to be funny.
Yeah.
I have this image of Han Solo walking into a room, opening the door, and goes, "So a guy walks into a room,
yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, I'm telling
No,
you."
I think I'm even like anticipating this even more now.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
Wow.
That we got a
yeah.
collaboration of Kasdan and Howard.
Yeah, because he's going to dig through everything. He's going to figure out what's good. He's going to figure out exactly what needs to be done. Because
Right.
he's done this before.
But,
He's-
I mean-
he's like a machine. He's methodical in how he does it.
Jay, can you name me any movie where this has happened, where a director's been pulled off in the middle of production and it worked?
I don't think it was as in the middle of production as people are thinking. I mean, I think it's maybe
were
about 4 weeks.
4 months.
Was it 4 months?
Yeah, they started in February.
But
supposedly
shooting.
had-
I'm talking shooting though.
They supposedly had 3 weeks left of principal photography.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Because I didn't
Yeah.
see
To be
like,
pulled out like at the end of
like
this.
I think this is going to be very disjointed. The only other examples
think so.
I could think of this happening in recent memory is something like American History X or The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Well, here's the
I don't
thing,
think.
too.
I don't think so. I
Keep
don't,
this in mind as far as productions go. That they've already pre-scheduled a time for pickups later on, as every movie does nowadays, especially
Yeah.
these big budget ones, where we do reshoots and we do this other stuff. So anything that they feel like we want to redo because it doesn't work, it's too goofy, well, we can.
well, they did book. They said they booked 5 additional weeks to shoot.
Is that what
right?
it was later on?
That's what you just said. I think.
Well, I said
no,
they had
no,
3
so
weeks
the-
left
there
in
was-
principal photography.
right.
Yeah, and then they were going to do another 5 weeks after that for pickups once
Well,
they got a rough cut
there's
together.
a couple of things here. This is Disney. This is Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is Ron Howard. You know what I mean? This is a script that's solid. This can easily be cleaned up
Yeah.
by these people.
I don't know, man.
I
think-
disagree.
I think that's why they brought in Ron Howard.
Exactly. Or initially Kasdan probably because he knows the material.
Kasdan probably calls up Ron. It's like, this is exactly what we need done. Kasdan probably is looking at it and has already had conversations
Yeah.
with Disney. Exactly, like, this is how we fix it. We bring Ron in, and you know what? Ron's not a bad guy to maybe put into this stable for Star Wars in general. And this is
actually,
and if he's not busy,
Actually, be honest with you, I can even think that maybe they asked him, "How do you think we can save this?" And he probably brought his
Yeah,
innovation to the table.
and they were like,
said, yeah.
well, what are you doing?
Well, it's also you got to remember this is a man who made a decision that really put the fate of all of Star Wars in jeopardy 20 years ago when George Lucas asked him to direct Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and his response was, "No, George, this is your baby. You should do it."
So you're saying
That's what everybody wants.
So what you're
and
saying?
look what happened, Bill.
so you're
look
s-
what happened. Do we really want to trust this man again?
I hope you're
Maybe-
kidding with that
maybe
statement.
that was-
That's not
Kasdan's
true.
Maybe that was just his political way of telling a guy like George Lucas, "Look, this is crap. I'm not doing it." Okay.
You can say the same
know
for
what?
Spielberg, man, because
yeah,
he was
yeah, no, I-
ahead. He was the number one choice at the time.
I am half joking, but Ron Howard was approached for Phantom Menace and he turned it
So
down.
so was Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
And the other name.
Basically, Lucas asked all of his friends because he didn't want to do it, and no one took the hint, and he ended up having to do it.
To be quite honest with you, the other name that was being thrown around was Joe Johnston. Even he was approached at the time, and he turned it down too. And Joe Johnston is actually a very decent director. I mean,
Captain America.
Wolfman, I thought was really well done as well, and Rocketeer, and.
All right.
So this is good news to me. I think.
Yeah, I think you look at he's got time left to do all the fixing he needs to do. He's got time to look over everything and start editing a movie. And say, okay, this is where I need to fix and go fix it.
And if they need to add some more time to the schedule a little bit, I think they can fit it and squeeze it in. He's a yeoman. He's been around the corner. He knows how to do this stuff on the quick if he needs to, as opposed to maybe somebody else who's new, who's going to not kind of like see options and opportunities, like a guy who's been doing it for this long.
It's also a property that has a built-in audience.
Well, yeah.
So, they're not going to lose anybody over this either. In fact, they probably gained a lot more
absolutely
anticipation.
And maybe this is his way of making up for episode 1.
This is his invisible way of apologizing.
We're dealing with someone that's no longer part of the Star Wars universe anymore. So,
all right. Next one.
Next one. This is a director being hired before production starts, and it's a reunion between director and star David Fincher and Brad Pitt.
Yep.
Who've previously done Seven, Fight Club, Curious Case of Benjamin Button together, are going to be reuniting for a little film called World War Z 2.
Yep.
I liked aspects of World War Z. I read the books, so I knew going in, like, I had to kind of keep it separate. So there are, like, aspects of it I like as a movie. But it's a little rough on the edges. But this is good news.
This is the defibrillator.
Yeah, this might bring it back to life. Like, if this sucks, it was destined to suck.
Right.
No matter what. After Fincher's puts his hands on it. Jay can run a little deeper on this, but, Fincher's an auteur. You know what I mean? And, like, this is kind of a thing, like, you would think would be out of his wheelhouse. Like, I really feel like Brad probably called him up and was like, look, I really think this is a good thing. I really want this thing to go through. Like, consider it, please. Let me send you the script.
Well, the book was a whole different animal.
Yes.
And we were all disappointed that we didn't get like an HBO series out of it and whatnot. So we got a Brad Pitt venture with I forgot who Mark Forster. Yeah.
A guy who keeps getting action movies that's not really prepared for them. He also did Quantum of Solace. Before that, Finding Neverland, which is a very good movie.
Right.
Okay.
Well, World War Z, I mean, it was all right. You know what I mean? It wasn't fine. But I think now you see what they're doing is they're going for big guns now with David Fincher. You know what I mean? Who's probably going to have a whole lot of creative control over this. You know what I mean? He's with Brad Pitt. So, and they're 3 for 3 as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean, with their collaborations.
Sure.
So I think that this is exactly what this type of movie needs. Somebody of their stature, of Fincher's stature, to come in and say, this is what we need to do. We're definitely going to get something definitely of his world. Very Finchery.
Really curious as to how it's going to go down.
I mean, this is his.
But I'll be there to watch it. Definitely.
I would say this is like his first big franchise movie since Alien 3, which was his first movie.
Yeah.
So.
But you can't really count that because he was.
Yeah, that was taken out of his hands.
Exactly.
But
that's a whole mess.
That's a whole mess from the jump. But that's why I wonder, like, there's a couple aspects to wonder about. How much of it will feel like Fincher? How much will it really feel like the first one in any way? Will they be in any way beholden to some of the visual ticks of that movie?
Well, this is where I would call Max Brooks. And bring him in and say, what do you think that we can do? Or maybe if we take a look at the book, and maybe they'll take a couple stories out of there, and
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the book ends with the Battle of Brooklyn. I mean, do you actually go do that now, or do you try to save that for a third? You know what I mean?
I guess that would depend how this plays off.
Right. I mean, do they want to say,
I think it's also, do you get David Fincher for more than one of these?
No, but if it's a matter of saying, like, it's a delicate question, because it's like, do you save the big thing that's in here for a possible third, or do you take advantage of having the high caliber director you have now for a second one? Because if the second one now goes gangbusters because you had Fincher, now what do you do? Then what do you do for a third? Then you got like, we did Brooklyn.
Then-
We did the Battle of Brooklyn.
Well, then
know?
you do a prequel.
There you go.
You go do a prequel to that one.
Oh, you do the fucking book finally.
Or you get you get an auteur of his, an auteur like him.
No.
I
to
think
do
the
something.
whole I think the whole point of getting someone like him is
Yeah.
because they're learning from the superhero movies. You know what? You pay for what you get.
Yeah. If
You
they could
get
do
what you pay for, rather. You know what I mean? So you're better off you put somebody good in it and get a good movie.
I think Fincher would work great with an adaptation of the book the way the book is. The way the
Yes,
book
I
should
agree.
be done as a show where it's like first-hand accounts and it's all flashback based and it's a little bit more tension related and you can jump back and forth with time and stuff as opposed to being this straightforward just action adventure movie with zombies. Like,
Right.
try to do something different. That they could try and do that here in the sequel and be like, it's 10 years later. It's after the fact, which is the position of the book. The viewpoint of the book is it's after
Right.
the zombie stuff.
Well,
It's during the historical, people trying to put together the historical record of the events. And that's why these conversations are happening in the
Okay,
book.
so James is in the chat room. He's saying that that the book ends in the Southwest, not in Brooklyn.
The book might end in the Southwest, but
Oh, you're saying the climax? Of
Yes.
of
the
book
climax
was-
of the war
Yeah.
is about this gigantic Battle of Brooklyn. Like the book probably does end up going to 3 or 4 more places, maybe
Well,
even
it's been
after
10
that.
years since I read it. I read it like when it was.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I remember that being like this big thing they build up in the beginning of the book anyway. So, if he's read it more recently than me, then God bless him. Yeah, I know he's from the South, so he probably is very much like, hey, buddy, just letting you know.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of roundtable pre-production meetings on this to,
Are you kidding me?
like
Jesus
do
Christ.
let's not repeat what we did the first time around. And Fincher's going to be all over this.
Yeah, and plus,
Pitt as well.
you bring in Fincher now. It sets back the whole thing for a while because he's got to kind of come in with his stuff and reset, readjust. But it's good news.
Yes, it is. Cash.
But
Cash.
questionable news is up next.
Bill, you take this one.
All right.
Yeah, this is you, my friend.
So, your boy Damon Lindelof is talking about doing Watchmen. Well, there's a conversation supposedly that HBO or him they've crossed paths and had this discussion about doing a Watchmen TV series, and I'm not down for it really on a bunch of different levels. I like the idea of doing it as a TV series. I feel like it was done as a movie recently, and the movie is like. I feel like the movie is good enough where I don't know that the series is in any way guaranteed to be better. And I would much rather see Lindelof doing something original now. I'm like, okay, he did Lost, and that was a very team, group written kind of thing. Leftovers was, adapted from a book. They got 2 seasons out of it that are supposed to be better than the first season because the first season was based on the book, and then the book ends. And then so the better stuff is supposed to be that shit.
Right.
And, he's jumped onto a bunch of different scripts over time. So, like, always big name stuff and always really out there shit.
Well, okay, so let me,
You had a good, because we talked about this on the DC TV Report Part 2 when we got into future stuff.
yeah, and I don't even know if this is more discussion beforehand, but to me, like Damon Lindelof is the kind of guy who always has a really high grasp.
Yeah.
Like he's really trying to reach for something
Yeah.
big.
He's got high concept.
Something
Yeah.
out there, but a lot of times he doesn't really grasp it.
Well, because a lot of times it seems like the thing that's up there is a nebulous thing. Like he did kind of go to the school of JJ a little too much, where it's like, it's okay, like if the MacGuffin is kind of like not really crystallized and we don't really know what it is, we'll figure it out later kind of thing. And I think that's usually the downfall for him, as it sometimes is for a lot of projects, for a lot of creative stuff. So that's why for me with this, I feel like, yeah, obviously if you were going to do it, he's on that list of people you would contact. Like you would like, hey, who's a good guy in TV who's kind of set up for this, who's like a genuine geek, gets the material, and like could handle this kind of a ship. And he makes that short list, I think. But
Yeah, and also his quote in Hollywood Reporter, I think, is very telling.
okay,
Actually, no, he told this to The Observer. I want to keep it sort of insular. It's okay with me if people don't understand it because they don't deserve to understand it.
well, look,
And
You know.
he's talking about,
how that
basically multiple translations of the source material over the years,
right.
and everyone's trying to figure out what it means. And by the way,
Basically, it means if he thinks that if you're too stupid to get it, too bad. You're too stupid
well,
to get it.
yeah, well, I think because it's
Well,
also
that's part of the
it's
book.
also the kind of thing because
Yeah.
no one understands the pirate stuff.
Well, I don't think
And-
anybody really understands the book either. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who we say this all the time because there's this whole section with the pirate stuff from like another comic book that's inserted in there that you're supposed to
Yeah.
read along with it. And it's metaphorical or parabolic
Parabolic.
to the story, as is all this text that's supposed to be from a novel that one of the characters wrote that we're getting excerpts from. So all this stuff is like ancillary. But I think even when I skipped that stuff, because I was that guy, I skipped that shit. The main part of it still feels dense.
Yeah.
And now, do I need that filler to make more sense to the middle? I don't know.
Well, it's also like I remember like hearing from Len Wein, like the reason it's a pirate story is because the thinking was that if superheroes existed in real life, there wouldn't be as big of a reason to put them in comic books. So they thought that pirates might be the one
Stands-
genre that might come to the forefront instead of superheroes.
Which is, kind of, in a way, spot on because we do latch on to genres like that where it's like, it's a way of saying, well, it wouldn't be Westerns maybe. Like maybe Westerns who had burnt out by the 70s, but pirates had come into play because Westerns used to be all the rage, TV and comics back in those days.
Yeah.
Well,
So
is that what
that's a-
he thinks Alan Moore thinks about that?
I think that's what that quote means from Len Wein, right? That
Yeah.
like Alan Moore's thinking behind using the pirate
Yes.
ship stuff as pirate ship stuff.
Yeah,
Was
and
that-
and I remember him
Okay.
talking about when the before Watchmen stuff was coming out. One of the things that they were thinking of doing was having a fake line of pirate comics
Okay.
that would have
Somehow.
followed along that line.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that, like, ultimately, it's nice to hear from Damon that, like, hey, we'll make it for the sake of making it and making it right. And if people don't get it, then they don't get it. It's just that kind of thing. But I'm still not excited. Like,
think,
it's better
yeah.
news. I see that he's got a good grasp on that aspect of it, which is cool.
Yeah,
I'm
in a
with
way.
Bill on this, actually. I think that the movie that we got is better than most people claim it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I would agree with that.
I think that we got a nice adaptation of it. I think that that he should concentrate on something more original and leave well enough alone. If people want to read the Watchmen graphic novel, and just go and read the graphic novel and get whatever you want out of it. Do something else.
Is my mic down low?
Nope.
Okay,
Yeah.
because someone's telling me to speak up.
You were far away from it at one point.
Well, this show does record really low because I try and
Lower?
I try and play it on the
Yeah, I don't know what's going
in the
on.
van at work.
Because last week I jacked everything up, and I really don't know what's going on. with
We're
the
doing
volume.
45 and a 65, I think, on this show.
Yeah.
So,
and I get different responses from everybody. I
Yeah.
got from last week's episode. I heard it was a little bit louder, still 10% lower than other shows, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
I got going through a compressor now, so some of the high peaks that like we get when we yell loud or stuff like that
Right. That's a good idea.
on the release end.
trash.
Like as it's coming over Mixler, I don't have a lot of control. Like, you know what I mean? But like at least when I go to release it, I can bring it into GarageBand. I can put a couple of things on it. You know what I mean? But maybe I gotta jack the volume all the way up in GarageBand, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I got my headphones on where I normally have them. It sounds normal to me. I don't know.
Can everyone hear me?
I know. I work when we're driving around in the van. And I
You
play
guys
it on
have trouble
Mondays.
hearing me? Well, you guys have trouble hearing me.
All right.
What did you say, Bob?
When on Mondays when I try and play the show,
Yeah.
I have to crank up the car stereo pretty much
All the way?
almost at full volume.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah. It's like at least 3/4 of the way up in order to make sure you can hear it.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's got to be there's something there.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. I gotta troubleshoot it somehow. I gotta get a hold of somebody. Maybe one of these other guys will figure it out.
All right. So speaking of news
Yeah.
that we may not want to hear,
Oh, yeah.
so this is a Bleeding Cool article saying that director Denis Villeneuve says that in Blade Runner 2049, we will get a definitive answer on whether or not Deckard is a replicant.
This comes from Ridley himself. So there's a long, winding quote in there that's very, like, I think he might have been drunk or high at the time. it didn't make a lot of sense to me when I read it. But point being that he's saying that like, oh, you get the answer here. He's like, the answer was always there. You know, I made
It was
it
always
definitive.
my thesis theory.
Oh, here we
It
go.
was one or two people who were relevant. Where I can't remember if Hampton agreed with me or not. But I remember someone had. Well, isn't it corny? I said. Listen, I'll be the best fucking judge of that. I'm the director. Okay. So and then you learn. Then I'm 44, so I'm not fucking chicken. I'm a very experienced director for commercials and The Duelist and Alien, so I'm able to, answer with confidence and tell
Right.
me, say, back off. It's what it's going to be.
And if somehow they take that as the answer's in the movie, like
Yeah.
what?
You forgot to say the word right after everything.
Right. Right. Harrison,
it's
he
like
was
this, you
he
know.
was never. I don't remember actually. I think Harrison was going.
Right.
I don't know that, but you have to be
Want my
because
cigar?
Gaff, who leaves a trail of origami everywhere, right?
Because he usually has a cigar with him when he's talking like that.
everywhere, right? We'll leave you a little piece of origami at the end of the movie and say, "I've been here. I left her alive, and I can't resist letting you know what's in your most private thoughts when you get drunk as a fucking unicorn." Right. So I love Beavis and Butthead. So what should follow is duh. So now it will be revealed in the sequel, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
What's funny is I always find he kind of like mumbles through.
Oh, yeah. I love mumbling. Yeah.
It sounds like he loses his train of thought in the middle and bullshits and that until he figures out what it was.
It's very much that. Like when you read it at the very end, he's like, it's, like Beavis and Butthead. I love that. They're like, duh.
Right.
Like, right?
My favorite
Stussy.
my favorite of him is when someone's talking to him. It was when an Alien Covenant was announced, and he's like, "Well, in Prometheus, we were supposed to tell the creation of where people came from."
the answer is in Beavis and Butthead.
Well, no, that was the thing. He was like, "We're supposed to tell the creation of where people came from," and we didn't answer that question. So,
Yeah.
And I don't think we're gonna answer it in this one. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Blame it on Damon Lindelof.
Well, they brought him in because they wanted it even more obscured, I think.
Yeah.
You listen to Damon Lindelof talk about that,
Yeah, but then
and you get no better answer because
Yeah.
he talks like an episode of Lost about that part of his life, where he's like, I met him, we sat down, we had a great
almost
time.
sounds like a Philip Dick interview.
Yeah, it's like we sat down, we had a great time, we had conversations about where he wanted to go, where I thought it could go, and then we did that. And I'm like, what?
And if you don't get it, you don't deserve to know.
There you go.
It's Hunter Thompson right there.
There's a reason why Damon
Yeah.
left Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think this is stupid. I don't think he should be a replicant. But
Yeah, my
Well,
take.
I'm just saying that then replicants have to age.
yeah,
You know what though? You know what I say? Wait until the movie comes out. Then you find out.
There you go.
$14, you find out.
There you go.
You feel better.
I
you
bet
feel
you
worse.
he's not a replicant, but what's his name is?
yeah.
New kid.
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, fancy boy.
Yeah. What I will say is I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner. I don't think it works as a movie.
Yes, we know.
We've been over this.
Yes.
But I do love the documentary Dangerous Days, which is a 3-hour-long documentary about the making of that movie.
Sure.
And how insane it was from the get-go,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
in the writing process. And I find that much more entertaining than the movie itself.
I've had that happen too. Where I've watched some docs behind the scenes stuff or
Yeah.
making ofs, and it's like, I'm engaged with this a lot more than I was with the movie.
Yeah.
Why did the movie suck so
Well,
bad?
watch the one on the making of Island of Dr. Moreau.
Well, that's the thing you
Whether-
watch because you know it's a train wreck. And
The
it's like-
director goes crazy, gets fired, and then comes back as an extra.
Well, I love Blade Runner. I've stated my love for it on the show. I personally don't think Deckard's a replicant. If he is, I mean, more power to them. I'm not going to throw my fucking popcorn in the air
Right.
and say,
It doesn't really
wiggle my
matter.
dick at the screen and say, fuck you all.
No, yeah.
But I think that
it depends on how they play it.
I honestly think that they should not touch that.
They should leave it ambiguous, kind of.
Just leave it alone. You know what I mean?
It's not an issue to address.
Let the viewers make up their mind because the movie I watched, I don't think he's a replicant.
Yeah.
I think they try to hint at it, but even in the director's cut, the hints are very subtle.
It's all vague.
Well, I think it's also kind of a Philip K. Dick thing, where if you're focusing on that, then you don't understand the point of the story.
Right.
You're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last bit of news is today is a very special birthday.
News.
Isn't there one more
we're-
thing in the
we're-
doc?
Oh, no, there is another
There-
thing for us
there
to go
is-
on about.
There is. So Sony Pictures has become a used car salesman
Okay.
of. We're just throwing out all these deals, new movies. We got
Let me tell you, buddy, I got all kinds of movies coming up
we
for you.
got
I got
Venom, we got Black Cat, Silver Sable. What's up next, Bill?
No, you were doing it.
Which one of those do you think will have Adam Sandler in it?
Craven. I think Adam Sandler as Craven is going to be the biggest thing going. Kids are going to love it.
Oh, talk it up, Bill. Talk it up.
Let me tell you. What else we got? We got Mysterio.
That's it. You just
Mysterio.
cast that for them. They're gonna listen to this. They're gonna be like, "Oh God, this is it. This is perfect."
The best part of Mysterio is he's mysterious. Like, you don't know who he is because he's got a giant fishbowl on his head and it's got a mirror inside of it. So all you see is you.
It's always fogging up on the inside, so you can't see his
Exactly.
face.
Okay.
Exactly.
Question: Can we do Mysterio without the fishbowl?
Is he going to be a protagonist?
Yes.
Then we'll have to.
And he's just gonna have to.
Then we'll
be
have
a
to.
mist of smoke or something walking around.
They should just do Mysterio like you don't ever know who he is. Like, that's the only way to play it, maybe. I don't know.
Years ago,
Oh, yeah, they
James
could.
Cameron wrote a Spider-Man script. Do you remember that?
I do.
Lightstorm was going to do a big
I do.
Spider-Man film.
They pushed me out of the project. I was pissed.
Mysterio was the antagonist in that
Sure.
film. So I think that they should, if they're going to ever do Mysterio, they should dust off that script, rework it, and make that into this new Marvel universe
Yeah,
thing.
you just asked how they do Mysterio without the fishbowl, just like with the face changer on Flash.
Just a
But-
blur.
Just make it a blur.
See, here's the thing, though, too. It's like, I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to be. Like that dome that's over his head, or why
Well,
that's
but, I
there.
mean,
Is it just because it's a weird costume and it was the 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
Basically,
well,
right?
this is
No
comics.
practical reason. Oh,
Yeah.
This
right.
is comics.
Wasn't
Right.
wasn't his costume? Now this is going back a ways.
Yeah.
Wasn't his costume like leftover stuff from like the theater department that he put together and made as a costume?
You know, that could very well be it. Because I know that's the whole thing, right? Is he's like a movie guy,
Yeah.
and it's all movie
Right.
trickery, stuff that he's supposed to do, smoke bombs, and
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
like really lazy magic, basically.
here's the thing with comics, especially if you're talking Golden and Silver Age. It's not about what makes sense. It's not about what's legal. It's about what's most visually interesting.
Absolutely.
What's going to engage the eye.
And be like, ooh, what is that?
Yeah, and the goldfish bowl in the head probably doesn't make sense, but it looks really cool, so that's what we're gonna do.
But they
I know.
can make it cool now.
That's what I was going to say.
They
That's
have
the next-
creative costumers.
You're right. I was going to say, it doesn't, because Ed said, like, it's about what looks cool. I was like, yeah, but the problem sometimes with comic books is that what looks cool on the page or during a certain era, it doesn't always work on screen.
Yeah.
But then leads you to Jay's point, which is that, like, we're in good hands these days with a lot of these adaptions. And
One flaw with the design though is that because he got the fishbowl and he's got the cape. It can kind of look like he's got like a hammerhead look to him, like
Yeah.
a hammerhead shark, because
like a
because
Juggernaut almost,
Those
where it's
can look like eyebrows on the glass. You know what I mean? So it looks like he's got the one eye here, one eye there.
yeah, because
You
he's got these weird shoulder pads that have
Right.
like eye
and the bowl is
shapes.
so wide to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to understand where Sony's coming from. This is the franchise that's working for them right now.
It's all they have to work
and,
with.
And
They-
so,
they
so
have-
we've got to come up with any kind of idea that we have to milk it. And
Well-
you know what? If these movies are great,
Well,
I
But-
think they do a Mysterio movie where he's kind of that lovable bad guy.
well, I
yeah,
think that's
You
going
know
to be
what I
their
mean?
approach for all
He
of
doesn't really
this.
want to be a bad. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, see, like here's the thing. I
do
can
the Mysterio movie. That would, I think, be the most visually interesting to do. And if you do it well, you set yourself on a positive note on a run of movies.
Yeah, but the thing I'm not that's confusing me is I don't know how you do a Mysterio movie without Spider-Man.
Agreed, 100%.
Well, that's going to be our
I-
first lesson from Venom,
Yeah,
because Venom's
I-
going to come up first, and for that they got Tom Hardy.
I can maybe get Venom and even Kraven. I actually think Kraven's backstory without Spider-Man could be really interesting.
But I think-
Mysterio is the one that boggles me.
Well, here's my issue is that if at one point they were going to do Sinister Six, and now it's like let's break them up, give them their own movies basically.
Yeah.
And then what? In the Sinister Six movie, that's when they finally fight Spider-Man. So you have to make me care about villains. They have to stay villainous enough that at the end, when they get together, they're villains still. Not endear me to Kraven. So this whole movie, he's just an anti-hero. So he's like a Deadpool or a Wolverine. and then in the end he has to fight Spider-Man. So 6 guys who are analogous to like anti-hero types now.
I mean,
because I think like you water them down if you give them too much of their own story. Like you're looking at the idea, it's like saying, okay, we're going to do 6 versions of the whole bad guy's the main character, Breaking Bad type thing.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, he still has to stay a fucking douchebag. Like, you know, I mean, Craven has to be an asshole still. Mysterio has to be a bad guy. You know, it's like saying we're going to do a movie about Kingpin, but, you know, he'll be the hero. And it's like, well, he could be a central character in somebody else's story. That's how it worked on TV.
That's the run-in problem you have making a supervillain movie.
And that's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you had Tom Holland, like if these were called Spider-Man Mysterio or Spider-Man Craven, and it was Tom Holland going up against them, I'd be up for that.
Yeah, if you figure out some kind of branching, even do like how Marvel or comic companies do, like you know, miniseries with a funky name.
Yeah, but even if it's the kind of thing where like the whole movie were with them, and then at the end Spider-Man just shows up and kicks their ass.
But it's not going to be the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel like a Spider-Man movie that Spider-Man... People aren't going to get it. People have a harder time getting that.
Agreed. I don't think they should do this.
And the thing with Venom, what they're going to do is they're going to say... Because they've even discussed it, is that like, okay, Venom's the bad guy. I mean, the good guy. So Carnage, we have to go Carnage as the bad guy. Since they're kind of cross-connected as far as the suits and the powers go. But Carnage is like, you know, if Venom is the serial killer, you know... well, if Venom is the murderous, crazy bad guy, Carnage is the absolute batshit crazy serial killer. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? From a murderous type who's kind of crazy to full-on
nut job,
Hannibal
psychotic.
Lecter in his prime kind of guy, Southern,
shred you to death in a moment.
So
I guess you could use this as like a Breaking Bad or like a Scarface type of thing, where we're going to show someone slowly descend into madness.
And I think that's the idea for them, and I think they're hoping that with Tom Hardy in there, that's going to carry it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to become a thing. But I think you can, like you said, you can do it a couple times maybe. But, like, you know, once you get down to Mysterio, because if you do, what's the order? You got to, they're going to do the most likely or conceptualized.
They're probably going to do Venom first.
Craven.
Yeah, I mean, the way they announce it, well, you got Silver and Black.
Well, Silver and Black's going to be like kind of like its own thing. It doesn't make any sense. We're all very frustrated by the idea.
Well, because it's Sony doing them. This is, you know, people are going to want them to be incorporated into the Marvel universe, the cinematic universe, and it's not going to be. If it is, Tom Hardy's not going to cross over and fight Spider-Man that they're going to grow to love now.
But you
Are we going to get Tom Holland doing the Spider-Man for these movies?
No.
No. Sony has said that Tom Holland will be involved in these projects, but they have not said exactly how.
Right.
If Spider-Man shows up, it will be that Spider-Man.
Yes, it will be him, but you can't, you know, have him in there too much. Otherwise, it's a Spider-Man movie with a different name on it.
You could have him be somebody else, though.
You could just have him pop on, and he's just Peter Parker, and he's there, and it's like, hey, wow, that's crazy.
Just have Tom Holland be Carnage.
Yeah.
You know,
we can't confuse people anymore.
Well, actually,
no, it's supposed to be separate but the same, right? This whole universe.
Well, not that separate. So Sony, you know, wants the illusion that it's all going to be in the Marvel universe proper.
Yeah.
As much as Marvel wants it just to be a distinction. You know what I mean? Sony wants you to feel like...
we've all seen the meme.
Yeah, we've all seen the meme. We've all seen the interview now.
Marvel said they're not willing to do R-rated movies, but Sony might. And I think Zombie John makes a point that Carnage can't be done without it being a straight-up horror movie. What if they do that? What if they make this Venom Carnage movie...
Like a horror feel?
Like an R-rated, you know, straight-up action pick.
That I'd be on board for, because that would make sense to those characters.
Yeah.
Especially if you have Tom Hardy involved.
And I feel like that works. You know what I mean? To a degree.
I could almost see these two characters doing kind of like the shredding people, ripping them apart physically, like just like shredding them in half. And at a rate that would similar to the death rate in John Wick 2.
I feel like
chasing each other around.
Yeah. Ripping
literally
carnage.
Yeah, ripping themselves apart over and over.
Have
again.
they contacted Todd McFarlane about all this? Because he's the guy that created those characters.
I don't know, Todd. Your thoughts? Has anyone asked you about these Venom movies?
I'm still waiting on. I have my secretary said that there was a call. Came through, but they never forwarded. When I picked it up, no one was there. Just Tom DeFalco, and he hasn't worked at Marvel in years. That's all I know.
So I guess that's a no, Jeff.
Okay.
Tom DeFalco keeps hanging up the phone. Keeps prank calling me.
Let's go back to making toys.
Will do.
And spend the $6 million on baseballs.
Oh, by the way, there's a Spawn Series 77 is out, and there's a Chromium variant figure. You can only find it in a box of Fruit Loops.
Wait, it's all chromium?
Yes, but only in
Are there any Fruit Loops left in the box?
it's only available in Canada too.
Okay. Oh, in Canada.
In Canada.
Canadian.
At what's the Canadian hockey team?
Okay.
How's it going?
what's
with
the
getting-
The
Canadian?
Montreal Canadiens?
Only at the Montreal Canadiens hockey Spawn night at the arena.
Oh, okay.
Todd, how goes the effort to get Spawn on the Canadian flag?
It's going good. It's going good. You know what the problem is that they don't like that I was just going to have the cape shaped like the maple leaf
Okay.
and Spawn right in the middle.
Right.
But they liked it, quote unquote. They liked it. They said, okay, maybe we'll let you make a figure. So I got a special Canadian
Right.
cape
The
Spawn variant coming out
the
all red.
I'm just picturing the Buddy Jesus pose
of Spawn.
from on the flag.
He says,
thumbs
"Hey,
up.
get out of my alley,
Oh,
eh?"
thank you, Todd.
Anytime I can do anything I can do for you. I did have a fucking point before that happened.
No, it's just Todd McFarlane being on deck for this.
Yeah, as far as
Venom, Craven, Mysterio, Carnage.
I'm just saying because Venom and Carnage were
Yeah,
created by him.
Yeah.
Not Craven was.
yeah, Craven was earlier, and yeah, but Todd's definitely created on Venom. Carnage, I'm not 100%. I wouldn't be surprised though, because it is very much close to that.
Did he
But
create the black suit, or was that?
No. But
he just created the Eddie Brock Venom.
Right.
at the very least, the drawing design of it. He may not have been writer on a time. It might have been him and some like David Michelin or somebody like that.
No.
My last thought before I forget it was just that like I think that the only way they can really just in general pull this off is if they just forsake regular movie-going audiences. Like if they said, "Look, we don't care. It's just for the fans. It's just for comic book fans and readers." Like we could sit through a Craven movie that's just about Craven,
Right.
Like it's Craven's origin. It's like a one-shot comic that would come out, kind of a
Sure.
thing, and that would make sense for us.
Yeah, and it would be a pretty good movie, I think.
And if they want to be like, you know what, if mainstream audience, quote unquote, doesn't really get what's going on, all right, no big deal.
Or isn't there one book from the late '80s that's like Craven's last hunt?
Yeah, well, that's when he buries Spider-Man alive. It's that iconic cover where he reaches out.
Is that story told from Craven's point of view?
It might. I never read it. It might very
Okay,
well
'cause
be.
That would be cool. Is kind of
That kind of
take
thing.
it from Craven's point of view.
So there's a
and
reason for there's less
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
and we only ever see Spider-Man in the mask. We don't get any Peter Parker story.
Right. Or you do. If you do, it's very brief. But the 90% of the movie is like his POV, and
Yeah,
like you
right.
know,
the
maybe
only time you really see Spider-Man is actually when it's
when
time
they engage.
to fight.
Yeah, when they and it's you get to see a version of Spider-Man where like he keeps ruining Craven's day, basically.
Yeah.
Like you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where you get the empathy for Craven. He's just trying to rob a bank. I mean, come on.
Just to clarify, because I did look it up, Venom's original is created by Randy Schuler, had the original costume design, and also lists David Michelini, Mike Zeck, and Todd McFarlane.
Right.
Yeah, because those guys were all evolved in
I
different
think
times.
the only way that these guys successfully do a Venom movie is if they go back to looking at all the basic details of how Venom started and everything, and then they kind of rewrite in between key points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how Venom was
Well, that's the
alone
problem.
on the moon. He was alone on the dark side of the moon for like 1,000 years or something.
Well,
right?
here's the thing:
So
is
he
that
was a little,
it's
that's how you could say he got nuts that way.
Yeah.
And you can kind of build some empathy for him at that point, and then you have the rest of the Venom movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean his
you know,
origin's kind of different than that, but I mean that's probably how they would kind of retrofit it, where it's like the alien is crazy too, and so maybe Eddie's not as crazy because the thing is that the suit is crazy, and then it joins up with Eddie, and Eddie's already got a hard on for Spider-Man he's got a hard on for Parker, and then when the suit joins with him, he finds out that they're the one and the same. That's how Eddie Brock puts that together because the suit
Right,
tells him.
right.
He's like, I just came off Parker.
yeah.
He's the bad guy. You want to kill him too. Let's do it. And so, you know, they're equally crazy, but the suit supposedly drives Eddie even crazier than normal. Like it affects his brain. So
Right. Well,
you know.
isn't there a point when, or maybe it's Carnage. Maybe it's how we first meet Carnage, where J. Jonah Jameson's son, he's the astronaut, and he goes up on to the moon.
Yeah, he goes to the moon and becomes Moonwolf, all on his own.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought
The thing is
I
that
thought there
in
was a point
Secret
where
Wars-
he comes back with the suit.
No, in Secret Wars, Spider-Man ends up on a planet with all the other Marvel heroes.
Okay.
And they end up, the Beyonder makes them a machine that will make them a new costume. Thor gets a new costume and his is fine. But when Parker goes to use it, the alien symbiote slips into the machine somehow and it merges with the machine. And so that costume that's made for him isn't like a regular alien symbiote for, like in its natural form. Like it's merged with whatever is in the machine kind of thing. They've retconned that a little bit. So now that the alien symbiote species is kind of like
Right.
all the same. But so Peter goes back to Earth with this suit that's alive and it could just turn into regular street clothes. Like he doesn't have
Right.
to take it off. And that's, it becomes a problem after a while. And holy shit, how do I get rid of it? And like Reed Richards has to help out and stuff like that.
That I remember.
Yeah. But the whole thing where it's like another planet's tied in,
Right.
that's where that kind of comes from. Where like it's, that's how Peter ends up first exposed to the alien and has it as a costume. And then Jameson's origin is just a separate thing where he goes to the moon and encounters something on the moon that basically bites him and he turns into a wolf.
I could swear he at one point had the suit, like one of the suit, one of them. either
Flash
Venom
Thompson.
or
Flash
Carnage.
Thompson right now is a version of Venom in the comics.
right.
Known
I've
as
heard that
Agent,
too,
known as
right.
Agent Venom, which is Flash Thompson loses his legs in the war, and the government's like, "Hey, we got a thing for you to put up."
Gentlemen,
What? This is
it has just come to my attention to the chat room
Yes.
that Meow God, our loyal listener, is listening to
Good
us
morning.
while at his grandmother's funeral.
wow. That is some commitment. That is some serious
I
commitment.
think I think just out of
Sympathies.
I think out of
Condolences.
respect and sympathy, we should offer a brief moment of silence.
Like how, like Ed, like how, like
Well, I
how,
was-
like
I-
how brief.
To a true fan's grandmother.
I don't know. I had nothing else to play on my end. I was like, I guess,
Godspeed.
I guess lightning.
Sympathies.
All right. Condolences and all that. On a lighter side, Spaceballs turns 30 today.
Happy 30th birthday.
Yeah, which explains the opening line from Spaceballs, the movie. Everybody's favorite, I guess, to some degree, as long as you've seen it.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Yeah, pre-show talking about it just turned into us like riffing lines. riffing, not ripping. That's different. That's cocaine. Yeah, I don't know. That's 30 years old, kids.
That's right. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember going opening night with.
Thank you, Mel.
I was 14 or 13.
Now, Mel Brooks has been threading a sequel for a long time now, but I think a lot of the cast is dead or retired from film acting altogether.
Yeah, what's his name? Dick Van Patten's dead, right?
John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy.
Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
What were we
John
talking
Rivers. The cast of Spaceballs.
Oh, very good.
So
I
some of
went-
them are gone.
I fell asleep. Sorry.
Rick Moranis is retired from acting altogether.
He said that he'll come back if something.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't really
Grabs
do a
him.
sequel to that, though. I can't see.
He needs to be left alone. I mean, it's funny because Spaceballs came out like 4 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which was odd. Because usually you do a parody of that stuff. It usually takes like maybe 4 years after the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you made it like
It did
4
come-
years after
it
the
ca-
trilogy ended.
It came out of nowhere.
But it still grabbed audiences. And everybody ate it up. It's a cult favorite now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The social satire, Spaceballs the underwear, Spaceballs the t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Space.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's making fun of the franchise as much as
Yeah,
a
I think-
general.
The merchandising of Star Wars was ridiculous.
And it's gotten so much farther than it was in the 80s. Now, it's just basically that whole idea. I think they have to do another Spaceballs because something this profitable can't die.
Well,
Even though the film was not a financial success.
No, but even at this point, I can't imagine like
Where you would
how
go?
old is Mel Brooks now?
90, I think.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's
Well, these days you don't have to have him do anything but sit there in a wheelchair in a green room.
No, he doesn't show no signs of slowing down. That's the beauty of him. You know, he's,
well, hey, don't get me
which
wrong.
is great. But I mean, at worst, what would you do these days with all the technology you have? We've had dead people come back to life in movies.
How old is he?
Mel Brooks will
So-
will turn 91 in 4 days.
wow.
Well, happy birthday, Mel. I know you're listening.
God bless.
Birthday's, June 28th.
So it's a matter of too. It's like,
stole your theme.
it's a kind of a question of too. It's like, if you redid it, like everyone's gone. Do you do like a goof on the prequels?
That would work though.
because you would have other actors then, or the new series once the new series gets another one under its belt.
I mean,
Or just something that's all encompassing, like kind of thing, which kind of like the Spaceballs was. It kind of hit a bunch of different things from
I
different.
want to see the poster.
Yeah.
And I want to see whether or not Mel Brooks, because he's the only man on Earth
Yeah.
who could get away with titling a picture Spaceballs, The Schwartz Awakens.
There you go.
This would be something where you hand it to the writers like Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
The guys who just walked
have
off.
them riff on it and have Mel Brooks direct their script, and that would
I
work.
mean, now that may be a totally different type of movie.
It might be a little bit more biting than it was going to be.
Yeah.
Than it would have been
But,
otherwise. But
I
you're
mean-
right, though. It's
Yeah.
like, who do you put in charge of that? You
Right.
know, and those guys are a fit for it.
I think it's Mel Brooks. You just say, you know what, Mel, do whatever the fuck you want. Here's a checkbook. Have fun. Don't overspend.
Because, I'm trying to think of anyone who does those, straight up farcical kind of comedies now.
It was the last ones were like whoever was doing
Adam
scary movies.
I guess Adam McKay would be, but, even he's going with more serious fare nowadays.
Like the Zucker brothers, the
Yeah.
guys that did Airplane, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If they,
Kentucky
you
Fried
can
Movie.
get those guys out, maybe,
Yeah.
But they didn't work with Brooks. Brooks was actually doing his own thing, and they were doing their own thing. But if you wanted to do a collaboration or
but
something like
but
that,
I mean,
make it
Yeah,
slapstick.
The three of them, forget it.
I mean,
Yeah.
even they were contemporaries. I'm trying to think of someone, more current.
With the Farrelly brothers?
Farrelly Brothers, maybe. Even they've been going 20 years. Dumb and Dumber is 23 now.
I don't know, because Mel Brooks needs, solid writers, really great comedy writers. If they really want to pull it off, because it can be pulled off. I'm not saying that it
Well, then
it,
you go,
it definitely
you
worked
go
now.
Seth MacFarlane.
He might be, but he does his own. He's already done his own Star Wars parodies through
Yeah.
Family Guy, and they're funny.
And he's done his own Blazing Saddles,
Right.
which kind of
Did someone say Todd McFarlane?
No,
Someone say my. Oh,
No,
sorry,
no.
I'm sorry.
Seth MacFarlane.
your cousin Todd.
Oh, Seth.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, Seth.
No, Seth.
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 Swallow the spit.
Seth.
There you go.
There we go.
Thanks.
There we go.
Good. Wow, close one. All right.
You just gotta get one of those
So-
dental straws and keep it in your mouth there, Todd.
Like a tracheotomy.
He doesn't get too involved
guess
in
now that time-
motion
Oh.
pictures. Todd McFarlane. He did a couple producing things.
Well, I'm still working on a script for Spawn.
Dangerous Life of Walter Boys.
I'm
Remember that?
still working on a script for
Was
Spawn.
that you on page 2?
So I'm still rewriting page 2. I got some dialogue issues, but I think I got nips this time. Page 3 coming soon. Cheesecake. Cheesecake. All right, so
Sporty Papa Joe.
we got no Agent Palmer this week compiling the chat game, but we're gonna
How's that going?
scroll back through here. I'm gonna read a bunch of these. Let's see what we got for headlines this week. With superhero headlines in real life. What would the real world look like in the news?
I'm gonna miss some. I'm sorry.
It's all right. I got some. I'm going over them with you here, buddy.
Flash snaps thousands of upskirt pics at fashion show.
Wow, that's something he would do. Superman sued for peeping at woman.
Green Lantern constructs wall between America and Mexico.
Yeah, but I mean, how long could he keep it there? It's all about willpower, and that's a big wall.
Superman hit by a bus, 40 killed.
40 people dead. Like it. Government punched down Spider-Man for cleaning bill. I'm not sure. Gunt down? God damn it, hunt down. Okay.
I was raped by Invisible Woman.
Whoa. I don't know how's that work? Killer Frost gives cold shoulder to the press.
Batman, swear to me.
I like that because it's one. You got to be able to read that one, but I get it. I like it. There we go. What we got?
The Thing rocked my world.
Plane shot down. Russian government claims they thought it was Iron Man.
Red Sun Superman denies Russian hacks.
That's funny. World War Z wasn't that great. No, that's not Iron Man.
Wonder Woman working for courts. No one can lie.
There you go. That'd be actually pretty handy.
That works.
Daredevil rejected as eyewitness.
Dr. Manhattan outsources Stop and Shop staff to India.
That's hey. Let's see here. Silver Banshee arrested in Dublin pub brawl.
Okay. Like that. Actually, that sounds...
I'm digging deep on the Silver Banshee reference here.
Flashed accused of multiple peepins at same date and time.
We got any more?
I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. I don't really see...
Firestar could be in a Lifetime movie about her battle with breast cancer?
That was just somebody saying something in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Reed Richards arrested for peeping in a ladies' dressing room from 4 blocks away.
A lot of perverts in these headlines.
Yeah, a little bit. And now I'm just reading people's comments as headlines because some of them work. Spider-Man found Venom by accident after the Secret Wars.
All right.
All right.
You want to do the live read?
Yeah. Actually, here's what we're gonna do. Ed did this again to me this week, but there's a thing right before it. You three, I want you. This is for the next segment here. We're gonna do. It'll probably be something hopefully kind of quick. Get yourselves a pen and a paper like last time. It's a different game. I don't have a name for it, but Wesley sent me an email during the week, and he was like, "I got an idea for a thing, but I don't know how to do it necessarily." While I'm doing the live read, I want you guys just to write down the name of a movie, and we'll start there. And when I come back, we'll play with it.
You got it, Flugine.
All right, you guys just write down the name of a movie. All right, so let's talk about Audible, kids. For you guys, listeners of the Wicked Theory podcast, regular listeners, you guys listening right now, you special people, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check it out. You know what I mean? It's a special offer just for you guys, listeners of the show. If you guys go to audibletrial.com/wickedtheory, you're going to get a discount. You're going to get a break. You're going to get a deal. You're going to get the hookup on joining the service and giving it a shot. It's a free 30-day trial and a free audio book download. 180,000 titles to choose from. If you like listening to podcasts, or just music, but you want something different, you're getting tired of listening to the same stuff, maybe this is the way to go. Maybe this is the way to get back in touch with some of these great books that you never got your hands on, you ain't got time to read because you're a commute, you drive, you're on the train, whatever it is. Books aren't for you. They're cumbersome. They're odd. They don't fit in your pockets. They take up too much room when they do fit in your pockets. Who needs them? It's 2017, for Christ's sake. Get on the ball. Start listening to some audiobooks. Everything you love, all the artists and writers you love, read by incredible talents. They've even got original content on there now, too, if you didn't know. So go check out Audible. Download your free audiobook today. Go to audibletrial.com/wickedtheory. Again, audibletrial.com/wickedtheory for your free audiobook. Gentlemen, before I did that, I gave you guys... No, thank you, Bob.
Well, we got Meanwhiles to do, right?
We got some meanwhiles to do, but we're not done with the game. We skipped over that by accident? Is that what happened?
Well, no, I just thought it was a better time to do it before the Meanwhiles, so I just decided to throw an audible at the line of scrimmage.
Okay, you can't throw me audibles?
I pulled a Peyton Manning.
I'm bad enough with...
No math, no sports.
Well, there's that, too. And plus now Audible's a sponsored thing, so that's going to throw me for a loop. I'm bad enough with staying on track. Try not to throw me off without letting me know.
Okay.
Because I thought we were at another place now. Now you're telling me we're in a different place. Okay? And which is good because I'm looking at time and it's like, Jesus Christ. All right, so we'll come back to the game thing. At least people know that you did something. All right, so Ed, you saw... Oh, wait, meanwhile...
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, do it again because kids love it.
Meanwhile,
The Book of Henry.
Yes, I went to the movies last night. I saw The Book of Henry,
Right. Right.
which stars Naomi Watts and Jaden Heiber. I think that's how you spell his name.
It's about some messed up kids, right? Some evil little kids, right?
No,
Oh.
it's about a really Jaden Lieber. That's his name. It's about a really smart kid,
Yeah.
and who lives with his single mom and his little brother, and he discovers that something strange is going on next door, and that's it. That's all I'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
But it is.
Is it in the first person perspective, like it's like its predecessor, Hardcore Henry?
No, no, not at all.
Back to the review.
Yes. No, but this is from a screenwriting perspective. Like, I feel like every screenwriter should watch this because it's a beautiful example of nonverbal storytelling.
Okay.
And the way exposition is laid out, and you learn everything you need to know about these characters by what they do and how they interact with each other, and not just random pieces of information that they spout at you because the
Nice.
screenwriter feels that they have to.
Oh, good. Because I like that. I like the sound of that.
Yes. And there is something. This movie takes a very hard turn.
Right. Is that ruined by some of the trailers? Because
It might be. It might not be.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into detail here because I don't watch anything about this.
I saw mixed reviews on it.
Just go see this movie.
Okay.
For me, it's four American tacos.
4.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, no, and I think this movie deserves some Oscar consideration. It's coming out in June, so I don't know if it's going to get any, but I would definitely for best original screenplay and Naomi Watts is could be. I don't know if you would consider her best actress or supporting actress, but there's some really cool stuff that happens in this, and I really want you guys to see it so we could talk about it. But yeah, go check it out.
Very good.
All right, cool.
Nice. Jay's up next.
What?
What?
No, but that's the last review.
I have one thing.
Watch,
You asked
right?
me
I'm
if I
confused.
watched anything.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of what it was, but it was just me watching an older film. But it's new to Blu-ray. And that is Willard. Do you remember that? You got to remember this, Bob. Willard.
Willard. What am I?
Early 70s.
Wait, you're talking about?
I remember the name. I don't.
No, that's with Crispin Glover.
It's been remade with Crispin Glover.
Okay.
It was really Bruce Davison was the original Willard.
Okay, there was a sequel to that, right? Called Ben.
Ben, right, which has been nominated for an Academy Award for Best Song, which was a Michael Jackson song about rats. Guy that controls.
I'm gonna cry
A guy
just
that
thinking about
controls rats to do his bidding.
Right.
You know, because he's getting stepped over. I'm surprised Bob don't remember that when I was
Well, Willard-
71, 72.
What's funny is that
I remember the
Ben.
name. I remember the name of the movie. It rang a bell, but
I didn't know what the.
sorry, guys.
That's all right.
No, that's somebody who knows not to call right now.
Oh,
Bastards.
They're gonna be sorry.
Bastards.
They're gonna be sorry.
My phone's in here.
No, it's an interesting horror movie. If anybody's, probably people know the Crispin Glover version because it was remade. It was remade well too. It was actually very good. But it's about a guy who lives with his mom. You know what I mean? His mother's sick, and they have this house and part of a business. And there's an evil guy at the business.
Right.
And the
'Cause
evil guy
I
is
did see the one with Crispin. I did see the Crispin Glover
Right.
version.
And Ernest Borgnine is controlling the business that the family started.
I'm in.
And he basically controls the rats. And there's these two rats that, in particular, one's good, one's evil. Oh, beautiful music. This is Michael Jackson's Ben. Ben is the rat that, he's the evil rat. Takes things into his own hands, or his own paws. But Scream Factory just put out remastered Willard and Ben on Blu-ray. And I picked them up. They had a 50% off summer sale, so I picked those up, and they're fun.
Right.
Thank you for this music, though.
I just felt like crying. Is all.
Okay, cool. Willard.
You don't really want to cry when you watch the movie, though.
No, it's about some little rat face boy.
It's about a lot of rats.
Yeah, it gets a little creepy, a little weird.
Yeah, it's a good film, especially for those that like older horror films when they were done with a lot of fun and a lot of innovation.
And they didn't have any money to do things.
Yeah, exactly. It was very low budget, but it was well received and it made some money at the time.
Yeah,
which spawned the sequel.
It was a unique premise at the time
Right.
for a movie. Like,
Right.
you're gonna go see a movie about rats,
I'm trying. I know, I'm listening.
like cockroach scene in Stephen King movies. and
Oh
stuff like,
yeah, well that's all.
stuff like that. You know?
But it is that it's that kind of
Yeah.
eeriness. If you're like
Right.
skeeved out by
Like
rats,
like Food of the Gods.
right? Well, that's a little.
That's a whole other type of movie, but
But it's there's a really good edition of it. If you you can grab it for like $20. It's a good purchase.
Not
It's a
bad.
good purchase.
But my next one is something that the three of us can just
Yeah.
riff on right now.
Yeah, and just shut out Ed.
You didn't see it?
No, I'm planning.
Oh, that's right, you
I'm
didn't.
planning to binge this show later.
Okay.
later
All right.
on.
Well, later on today, I guess.
You don't care about? We won't spoil
We
anything.
won't spoil or anything because it's like it's too good. I don't want to ruin it for anybody because I think a few people who do listen to the
to be
show,
honest-
other people are waiting off.
I haven't read the book, so this is the kind of thing where even if you spoiled it for me,
Neither have I.
I doubt I would remember.
Yeah, I think. Plus, if we just speak in like outside of contextual terms, look, American Gods. Like
Yeah.
we talked about it already a couple times.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
can't
just
talk
so
about it
good.
enough.
Yeah,
really.
it's just so good.
Believe the hype
Yeah, believe the hype and
on this one.
It's a smart show, and like much like we kind of were like really into Legion because it was smart. It's a different kind of thing. It's a different kind of animal, but it's it's Brian Fuller. It's the guy behind Hannibal, working it up on material from Neil Gaiman, and it's just on all cylinders.
And David Slade,
And David Slade,
who's
and,
known for doing Hard Candy.
right?
Do you remember that?
I do.
And I believe he adapted 30 Days of Night,
Okay.
which was a graphic novel about vampires in
okay.
Alaska.
He was, there is no God.
Yeah.
I remember.
They did a film about it not long ago. It wasn't bad, actually,
yeah,
too.
Steve
It was
Niles' book.
Steve Niles, who I love, by the way.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Oh, great stuff.
Yeah, he's a one-trick pony. That's why you like. No, it was all a joke on you. No, stop.
Maybe because 30 Days of Night was a book that I read, and then I didn't
Yeah.
really read anything more of his. But now that I went back,
Yeah,
that's what he does.
he just
That's
says,
all he does. Just macabre shit.
and tries to find like a high concept hook, which for 30 Days of Night was a great idea. Like it's like hey, it gets it's night in Alaska for like 30 days straight.
It's a good movie,
If
too.
you were a vampire, that's where you would go.
I stood in line to see a preview of that on 23rd Street in Chelsea.
30 Days of Nights?
Yeah, and I was about 20 feet from the door when they said we're full up. See you later.
Oh, no. Did you ever see it? Did you ever get to see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, because it's actually good, but it's good because of him. Because he's a really good director. You know what I mean? And you've seen Hard Candy, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes, I
Yes.
have.
well, he incorporates his edginess into this show because he directs the first 3 episodes, I believe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
bravo
I
to him.
didn't catch that. I didn't know that that was him. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, the show's got a great tone, and it's the tone throughout. It's really cool artistic stuff that they do every once in a while. It's the over the top stuff. Like when it happens, like if I were to describe certain stuff, I think I would chase people away because the description would just sound ridiculous about certain things. And it's like, no, but it works. It's like you just trust me, like go see it, go check it out. It's look, it's 3 out of 4 people telling you right now, go watch it. So that's all I can really say. 8 episodes. It's really easy for a season. They'll probably make it a little longer in the next one. If not, that's fine. I think 8 worked really well here. It's a thing I say every now and then. We say every now and then. Maybe 2 episodes less would have been a better season.
Like Daredevil.
Like the Netflix, most Netflix shows I'm noticing lately, like 13 feels like
Yeah.
couple
Well,
too
it's
many.
a combination of no commercials and 13 episodes.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's like they're full run episodes as opposed to like when you watch like TV shows like 45 minutes. Most
Right.
Netflix shows are an hour. Sometimes they're a little more if they need to be. You know?
I've seen them anywhere 53 minutes to an hour 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so people know, I am very excited for the show, and I do plan to watch it. But other than the DC shows and like very special shows like Fargo or Better Call Saul or Mr. Robot, I'm waiting till stuff is all the episodes are out and binging a full season. So I just finished Into the Badlands. I'm gonna check out The Sun with Pierce Brosnan. If I don't like that, I'm gonna watch Outcast on Cinemax, which season 2. We gotta.
I'm so far ahead in the comic, like I don't even.
Okay, but then American Gods is right after that.
Right.
That's my TV viewing schedule.
Okie
In
dokie.
case people are interested.
Oh, all right.
People are
You're gonna
interested.
post that up on the web somewhere?
No.
Okay.
We spoke about this briefly before the show. I just
Yeah.
want to pinpoint out without really giving too much away.
Yeah.
But Kristen Chenoweth
Yeah. He makes an appearance in this.
makes an appearance, and she is scene stealing. And she's acting against some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was absolutely, first of all, she's gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
But how she handles the material, and she's a devoted Christian.
Yeah.
And she had some fun with it and brought it to the
Yeah.
table, and I look forward to her.
You know, and it does have
forward.
a different kind of pacing. I feel like too, like it's a thing where like it's not until like episode 3 that I feel like things really kind of get rolling, where like all the characters are on the board by like episode 3 and 4.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think there is that. I think they are taking their time setting things up in the earlier episodes, because I saw Tom K was like, first couple need a little bit of help, but it's good. I'm staying with it. So, but I would say that the first few are like a little
So 3 episodes till Rawhide.
rolling,
Rolling.
roll them in, roll them out, roll them out.
Yeah.
Well, you'll probably be reeled in anyway just by Ian McShane's performance.
Oh, yeah.
And what
Yeah.
you're in the visuals you're looking at.
Actually,
Absolutely.
the character I'm looking most forward to is Media. Gillian Anderson.
Yeah. That
Yes.
scene under the tree in the first episode,
Yeah, yes.
that hooked me.
Yes.
I was like, all right, that's it, I'm in.
And episode 8 definitely brings you to the introduction of what season 2 is going to give you.
Yeah.
And
It's very satisfying, and it's a great point to leave off.
yes.
Yeah.
And actually, episode 2 had Peter Stormare in it,
Refresh me.
the guy that was playing checkers with our main hero.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
he's phenomenal,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I'm going to go with you.
Who's a guy that I'm
going
kind
to
of getting
smash your
tired of
skull.
seeing playing an immigrant all the time, because I know he's not one.
That guy?
Yeah, because I know him from Prison Break.
Yes.
Originally.
And every Michael Bay movie ever.
Yes. And so that guy, like, I've just seen him play a guy with an accent so many times now. I don't-
of cowboys.
This is how we do things in Russia.
See,
Come
you
with
guys,
me if you want to live.
see, you guys all know what I'm talking about. And then I watched him for years just being a regular guy, but always shifty. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah, he shows
I
up.
think I know you too well now. As an actor,
I
is the
liked
thing.
his turn as Count Vertigo in Arrow.
He
If you say so.
he's Satan in the Constantine film.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
right, yes.
totally takes the movie.
Yeah,
at that
yeah, he
point,
does
you
eat
know
up
what
the. When he's allowed to kind of like not be buried behind like the accent and everything, I like him better.
See, even though I thought that Keanu Reeves was miscast as
Yeah.
Constantine, I actually enjoyed that movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not at all by any
Hey,
means.
call it something else, and I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what? You're
Which is basically what
You're right, yeah.
Basically, what you should do anyway, because it's kind of like so different. But I mean, they kept a lot of important stuff.
Dude.
At least the smoking is in there, and it's a prince
No,
was
they tried that. It was called Legion with.
with what's his name? I forget who was in it.
I always imagined like Sting.
I thought
as
you meant,
Constantine. You know what I mean? Because that's what he
They
looked
tried
like.
that. It was called Michael.
He
with
looked
John
like
Travolta.
Sting.
Yeah, no, Paul Bettany and Dennis Quaid.
Right.
Paul-
Okay.
yeah, Paul Bettany was basically Constantine, except he's defending people from angels.
It's a good choice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would fucking think.
Because I was just
But
saying
it's a
to Bob,
reason. It's a reason why he's good as the Vision, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no,
He's
no.
better as a computer voice.
Oh no! It's not him. It's not him. It's just a really poorly written movie with worse effects, and it's just like you only did this because you could, and you couldn't even do that.
Ouchie. All right, so that's a recommendation all around.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to touch on Fargo real quick. Fargo wrapped up this season. Ed, did you see it?
Oh my god! Yes, I did. Yes,
And,
I did. I didn't mention this in my meanwhile because I knew you were going to bring it up.
And Like I never know what to make of this fucking show.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that ending is just so like.
It's just there, and it's so Coen Brothers in the last minutes. Like you know what I mean?
What's weird is like it's wrapped up.
Yeah,
Like it does wrap up, but not in a completely satisfying way.
no,
And
no.
and just it ends on this moment. It ends on like an Inception moment where you're
Like-
waiting for something to happen, and,
And
it's
it's
just
like,
like
well, you'll never know. You'll just never know how this moment, this last little
Yes,
meeting of people
yes.
wraps.
And if you think you needed to know, you didn't get it.
It's one of these, right? It's one of these. It's that again. It's that whole thing again, right? Everybody thinks they're David Chase in The Sopranos, all right?
Yeah.
It went to black for a reason, and if you don't get it, then you didn't deserve to get it. But Fargo, like really, like look, hey, they're probably not gonna do another season, and if they do, it probably won't happen as
it's
quickly
gonna
as
be-
previous seasons happened. It'll
gonna
be a
be a
while,
while.
if it does. So if you're looking for something good to watch, something different,
Yeah.
short seasons, there's 3 seasons of Fargo out now. Obviously, this one just wrapped. You know, but they're anthology, so you could just jump in.
Yeah, and
It
what-
helps to watch them all, though.
Yeah, what's
Well,
funny
you
is
can
it-
watch them out of order, basically.
It starts in winter, but it's spring by the end of it, so you get to see a different side of Minnesota. But
Minnesota.
just the
Yeah, yeah.
the cinematography in this show, it just looks gorgeous.
It's about family too,
Yeah,
and brothers.
but some great.
Ewan McGregor playing twins. Didn't think that was going to work,
And it did.
and it did.
Mary-
Really didn't think it was going to
Well,
work.
he's a good actor.
He's a good actor, but it's one of these things on paper. You're like, all right, that seems hokey. And then you kind of by the end of episode 1, like you're not seeing him as one guy doing 2 roles. You're kind of just seeing 2 different
Well, I
characters.
get that because I watch Orphan Black. And
There you
right
go.
now there's 9 of them.
So there you go. So
Yeah, legit.
you're familiar.
David Thewlis, Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
There it is.
and Carrie Coon. There's always someone break out who plays Gloria Burgle.
I think we'll say more of Thewlis around. Well, his teeth.
That's the girl from The Leftovers, right? She's also in Gone Girl. Carrie.
What, the
Carrie Coon?
main wife in Gone Girl? No.
You
Yeah.
mentioned Carrie Coon
Oh, she's plays Margot in Gone Girl. Oh, she's the sister.
in
Okay.
Gone Girl.
Oh
Yes.
my God, she looks completely different in this.
Right. Yeah.
Who would have think you take glasses off somebody and you don't recognize them at all?
I don't know.
Clark Kent was
geez.
right.
Yeah, wow. It works.
Mom, Paul Kent weren't just blowing smoke up his ass.
But that's good, and I know Bob wants to talk about this, and you did. Better Call Saul also ended this week.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Dad, you scared me for a minute.
Well, you read my mind because I didn't put anything in the doc.
Yes.
Bob was going to sneak us. But
Yeah, I was just waiting to raise my finger. And,
there you go. Well, you want
Jump in
to start that?
yeah, Better Call Saul wrapped up this week, and wow, what a way to end, right, Bill?
Yeah, another show where it's like,
It's like this is a slow burn show. This is now
Yeah.
3 seasons of waiting to see him become somebody else.
And
Yeah.
that show, you need to know what happened
So
in the end. Yeah.
it helps a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and for a show that you already know where it's going. when
You don't know where it's going.
You don't know where it's
You don't
going.
know. You know where the road ends, but you just don't know what the journey was like there. you
Right,
know?
yeah, and you're getting a pretty interesting ride the whole way. So,
Yeah.
if they're short seasons, 10 episodes. So if you haven't checked it out, and you're looking for something different, definitely check out Better Call Saul.
You know, a lot of people I think kind of like didn't give Breaking Bad a shot because
Right.
some people were like, "Oh, it's about a bad guy," and blah 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 blah. And this is a different thing if you think because you know that this is like a spin-off of that. It's a different tone. It's not as it's
no.
not as deadly serious as Breaking Bad was by any means. It's dealing a little
this
bit more with the quirkiness
Right,
and the weird
there's-
twists of life kind of thing.
There's a lot of there's a lot of periods of no dialog where you're just seeing the actor play out a scene.
Yeah, it almost
And
at
it's
first you'll
becoming part of the style of the show.
yeah, where
you
like
know?
yeah.
And it's very cool because you'll see some great characters doing some things which lead to things that have happened on Breaking Bad.
Right.
You know, you start to see the road that they're taking as secondary characters. Well, it's almost like they're primary characters.
Over here, we're actually getting like their stories a little bit in a way that like over
Right.
there you never could have gotten. You know.
Right. And we even get to see Jimmy McGill, a.k.a. Saul Goodman, in his future as a Cinnabon manager.
Yeah, there's these flash forwards that happen
Right?
that
So we get to see his other life after
Breaking- after Breaking-
Saul
Yeah,
Goodman.
yeah. It's like
after Breaking Bad.
the beginning of. Well, they've only been doing them at the beginning of each season, just
Right.
like these brief little glimpses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting, and I'm hoping that this show's gonna
Catch up.
catch up soon, and then maybe just flash forward, and we do a whole season of him in the Cinnabon, and something else happens, and we get a conclusion to this.
It would be interesting to see how much we get when we do kind of
Right.
catch up.
Yeah, I think once we catch up to where he becomes Saul, a good since that is basically the fulfillment of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then at that point it becomes a good point, a good place to start seeing
Seeing
the
more-
more of the flash forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see
You know.
that too.
This way we get the completion of that story because that's been a teaser up until now,
Yeah.
and we get the ultimate telling, a completion of Breaking Bad to a certain extent.
Right, because it starts to catch up with
Yeah.
Breaking Bad, and then you won't
Right.
have as much stuff to do. That won't
Right.
just feel like we're repackaging Breaking
Yeah.
Bad. So if we have this
Right.
other thing to show,
And then the after period is also after Breaking Bad in itself. So
sure.
I'm worried about Kim. I'm worried about Kim Wexler.
Yeah, I think she's putting herself.
Been worried about Kim from, you know,
The one that we knew she was
I
a friend
just-
of Jimmy McGill.
I just hope her life gets a little easier soon.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, Kim is like the nicest and best person on that show, and it just feels like, she's just destined to get burned by being with Jimmy because that's what Jimmy does in the end. He just kind of burns everything around him
Yeah,
to the
if it's
ground.
not him directly, it's like the shrapnel.
Yeah, it's the
You
being
know.
caught in the crossfire of what he does, or some byproduct, or
That's the ultimate thing about Chuck, that he's always known. But now, wow, you see what happened with him?
yeah, and
You
And where does that go?
Not on accident at
Yeah.
all.
We won't
you know?
spoil it.
No.
yeah, but
No,
you
but
know,
there's,
it does leave things up in the air for a few characters.
Yeah.
And and
Yeah,
you know,
I have read that the writers have said that while the plans are to keep things as assumed at the moment, because of the way things were written, that's where they basically drop off all thinking about it.
right.
So they haven't really gone beyond thinking about Chuck after that moment.
Yeah, this was how they wrote in the writers' room for Breaking Bad.
So they've walked since it was the end of the season. Now they haven't thought about it all, and
Yeah.
they're only going to really consider Chuck at all anymore once they get back. So
Yeah.
things could change,
Yeah,
but probably maybe not.
yeah,
You
But
know,
but that's the real brilliance, I think, of Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould and this group of writers is that they intentionally put themselves in these corners so you can get really cool ways to get out of it, and it never feels like a cheat.
it rarely feels like a cheat. A couple of times on Breaking Bad, it felt a little cheaty, but over here, it hasn't hit that yet. But that's always been their MO.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
come up with the end of the season kind of at some point.
We haven't gotten to the train sequence yet,
Right.
but that's
and figure out what it means later, kind of a thing, a little bit. And they take these hiatuses, and then they come back into the writers' room, where, like Bob said, they've left themselves a clean break creatively, where there might be a couple of ideas of where to go, but nothing has been set in stone.
Right.
Nothing is locked in. When we get back in, we'll figure out the groove and we'll the process and all that. So catch up with Breaking Bad, man. I think it's quirky enough to stand on its own. You don't
mean Better
need.
Call Saul. You said
I'm
Breaking
sorry.
Bad.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's fair. I think it's easy enough for it to stand on its own. You don't necessarily need Breaking Bad too
Yeah,
much.
if you're looking for something cool, something that's different, something that has a different pace maybe than what you're usually watching,
Yeah, not so criminally serious.
like because you get tired of action movies all the time. You want something that's a little different, but that's still cool. This is that show.
Jay, you doing okay?
What?
He's over there Frenching his what's left of his cigar.
Yep.
Yep.
The resonated part of his cigar.
I'm fine.
Oh, is that where they keep the cocaine?
It's where all the
Stash.
it's where all the nutrients are.
So Bill, you told us to write down a movie.
I told you to write down a movie because let's see what time it is. It's 8:38. All right, we'll do this quick. All right, so the idea that Wesley had was like, could you take a movie and make a better movie out of it by just changing the genre? So what movie did you write down, Jay?
Easy Rider.
Easy Rider. What'd you write down, Ed?
Snatch.
Snatch.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. So it's like a experimental bit here, like, you know, trying to see if we can kind of make up something out of this. I don't know. Easy Rider.
A buddy comedy.
I don't think it qualifies because Easy Rider is a product of its time,
Right.
and it was.
What genre would you put that in?
You know what? It can easily be done as a western, probably, with two, cowboys instead of two motorcyclists. But the thing about Easy Rider is that it was like a message to hippies and freedom and pot smoking and
Be careful.
love
There's a bad side to this.
yeah, exactly.
Would you classify that as a modern western, or
No,
No.
I think it's a product of its time. It's the hippie movement.
I think we do that like as a almost like a spoof of itself,
right.
as a comedy. You know.
I could see him.
It's
I can see it as a western.
a buddy comedy, like going cross country.
I could see it like both ways, actually. I could see like a whole different version where it's like straight western, changed a period, you know what I mean, with the horses and stuff like that. And certain aspects of it, you'd have to shift, like, the acid stuff and all that stuff. Maybe there's an Indian and some peyote involved.
Well, I think what you would need to do is, if you were going to make it a western, if somebody said to me, well, I'd like you to remake Easy Rider as a western, you would probably have to do it where it's the turn of the century, where the time of the cowboy is about ending. And
there's a counterculture thing happening.
And they're not welcomed anymore. You know what I mean? It's
sure.
not something like
Sure.
that.
Or even cowboys ending up in a more metropolitanized city or something like that, kind of a
Maybe
thing.
Bill and Ted go in their time machine and bring a couple of cowboys into the 21st century.
But that's a fair point, because if the key to the movie's heart really is about this these square pegs trying to find their holes in a way,
Right. But this,
maybe that's the new
it's all
angle on
about
it.
being rebellious, Easy Rider.
But to Bob's point, though, I could see someone taking that script and punching it up, as they say these days, and making more of a comedy out of it too. Like I could see.
It's kind of like what Butch and like what Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man did with Butch and Sundance.
Right,
they
right.
remade it and made
Yeah.
them bikers and
Yeah. I could even see if, like, back in the days, if, like, the development of the script had happened differently, because there are funny things that happen in it. There are moments of like that are comedic, and
Well, Jack Nicholson's amazing in it.
Yeah, well, that's-
he's.
mostly once Jack gets there. Yeah. But
But the message, I guess, is a free time, being rebellious.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And they also get criticized, and they they're victims of hate crimes.
man, we're not taking any crap, man.
You know what I mean? Because that's what they
Yeah.
are. They're victims of hate crime
Yeah.
and whatnot. So I guess you can do it, but I think this would have been, if I would have known,
Oh, you would have picked something
I
different.
would have picked something completely
I think this was the idea, at least initially,
Yeah.
that this would be the challenge. Now, what did you have
Now-
something on Easy Rider, or what did you?
No, I was
Okay.
going to talk about Snatch.
Yeah.
Which it's a British gangster movie. I
Yeah.
don't see any other thing that you could fit that in. It's such a singular.
Snatch is
Because
rough.
it's this big ensemble movie where you have all these different, everyone's got their own thing going on. You have these guys who are planning a diamond robbery, another one's trying to make a bet, another one is trying to buy a caravan off some gypsies, and then there's a boxing match involved. and
Well, it
then-
sounds like screwball comedy, which it basically is to some degree.
I was actually just going to say, just make it, just insert Ace Ventura and a lost puppy,
You know what I mean? Like, it's-
and you got gold right there.
yeah, I feel like like if the American remake would definitely suddenly.
Oh. I mean, they just did a TV version of it with Rupert Grint.
Yeah,
That
which-
that was on Crackle. It's atrocious.
It's also the way Guy Ritchie directed that movie too, with that style.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Which goes to my point about that that King Arthur movie he did. You know what I mean? Where he tried to incorporate that style into that movie, and it just didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It worked with Sherlock Holmes a little bit. You know what I mean? But it was entertaining, not with something medieval and very gothic and important like the
Right.
King Arthur films. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to Guy Ritchie's credit, with his style, I can't see Snatch being any other thing than his under his direction only.
Yeah.
and the characters he wrote.
But we couldn't rework it somehow. Like, there's no way to really kind of make it into something else. Like, we couldn't make it a horror movie somehow.
Because it's the Pikers. I don't even know
You'd have to change so much of the story.
Even if you did in America, I don't even know what equivalent we would have. I mean, like an Indian reservation.
It wouldn't
but
represent Snatch
it
anymore.
wouldn't be-
It would be something else. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I'm not saying you got to completely make it here, but I mean, well, that's we're trying to figure out this bit, this thing.
I think you should say what the bit is, and then have us find a movie that we can rework to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing it random, there's movies that you just can't do it to, and I think we just named 2 of them.
No, but I think that's I think it's a different animal either direction. Yeah, and then Bob had Ghost in the Shell, which
Falls under the same kind of thing.
I think
No, it's a solo cowboy movie on a quest.
well, I mean, it's hero's journey and all that, but I think a good kids cartoon out of that, a nice Pixar movie, where it's about the cute and lovable, adorable murder machine. The family takes it in,
The guy with the robotic eyes.
and then
Who doesn't know where she came from?
doesn't know, it's like Small Wonder, but even cuter until like the last act, where it's like, she has to defend the family, and these little hints that she's like a killing machine kind of have popped up.
She's got to go all Punky Brewster.
But even worse, it's like the animated Punky Brewster, where it's like she had Glomer. It's
We can make the Punky Brewster versus Small Wonder film.
well, finally,
There you go.
That would be great.
the thing people have been clamoring for.
This is what we've been asking for.
I'm sure the fanfic exists somewhere.
Hey, we can do it.
We got to call up MTV and get them to do the celebrity death match.
I'll start writing.
There's probably like a video on someone's YouTube channel where they've acted it out.
Yeah, just as I said before, just because you can does not mean you should.
Well, Small Wonder would have to kill Brandon, the dog. And
Yeah, that's true.
I'm up for killing any dogs.
All right.
Oh, as long as the
Sorry.
old man goes first.
Punky.
Punky, oh Punky,
Oh, Punky.
your socks don't match, Punky. You're a rebel.
Punky.
Go do your homework. Punky,
Remember the CPR, Punky.
Punky, is that methamphetamines?
He was great as Commandant Lassard in Police Academy.
The only thing he was
That's
missing
true.
in Punky Brewster was some Werther's original, because that dude was rocking a sweater, like it kept me warm looking at it.
Oh, I think it was a brown sweater every single time.
Yeah, it was like one of these fucking
button-up sweaters.
With a giant- one of those
Usual grandpa sweater.
way too thick for indoors, and it had the giant round brown buttons. And it's like, that's not even a real button. Come on, that's a sundial. But yeah, right. So in the last third of Ghost in the Shell by Pixar, she goes completely crazy trying to save and protect the family. Probably from people who are trying to come back to take her away. But the process goes like a little over the top, and like the whole house gets destroyed, and it's all that like, oh, Ghost, what'd you do? Like, because it's a Pixar movie.
Yeah, but then, and mom's standing behind her with the casserole still, but everything else is trash.
Easy Rider would be a great Pixar film.
And you're telling me we can't change this genre?
All right.
I think everything can get a Pixar makeover.
Thomas K just nailed it.
Okay.
So it goes in the shell. If it's done by Pixar, it could be Wally's cousin Evil.
There you go. That's
Cute.
that's cute. It's a good outline for that.
Yeah.
I think
Although I think nobody should touch Wally because Wally's just that's my favorite Pixar movie.
and this is going to be the problem we're going to run into.
The first half hour.
It's going to be like, I don't think this movie can possibly be remade in any other way. Maybe we're going to be a little bit too attached to some of these.
Well, no, I think we just got to pick different movies.
All right, well, we'll try it again next time, and we'll try it with that angle where I'll tell you guys ahead of time.
Like Showgirls would be a great science fiction film, I think.
And then
It already is.
maybe
Hookers in
maybe it's a variation on Pitch vs. Pitch, where
I think that was like, what's that show with it was Chode and
what was the thing?
was
what was the reference?
Titties in Space.
I know frogs in space, pigs in space rather. From
No, like
Muppets.
Spike when they first started as a
Oh
channel,
well,
they
we
used to
won't
have
talk about
shows.
that. There was nothing good on back then.
No,
Pence for
it's
Spence.
cheap cable.
So maybe what we'll do is this. We'll say homework, like we used to do with Pitch vs. Pitch, is to maybe that's the bit, to take it home and say
rework it with some thought.
well, to say everybody pick a different title that they could actually see pitched as a completely different movie, and then kind of bring it to the table, throw it out, and then we all kick it around a little bit. Does that seem like a thing?
That works.
It's kind of like what Peter Hyams did with Outland. It's kind of like High Noon in space.
Oh, Sean Connery. Yes.
Sean Connery.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
that still shows up on TNT.
that's a
every
good
now and
movie, man. That's a good science fiction film, and it's takes the High Noon, aura of High Noon, and just puts it on a space station. That's great.
Are we gonna have time for emails this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have to. Let's just. I mean, I guess.
Hey, sometimes the show goes 2 fucking hours. Hey, it happens.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Hey, huh?
It's life.
Flugine.
You know.
That's life. So the
Tungle my flugine.
And a taurine to you.
Flimba. You're too flimba.
You're too flimba for me,
You're
guy.
too flimba.
Ed, why don't you start setting that up while I do emails? All right, so we got a couple in here from Chad Rose. We're going to start out with him.
Hey.
Chad Rose.
Chad,
you guys
my
remember
man.
Chad Rose.
How's it going, eh?
You guys' own podcast, What's Your Work? Why are microwaves so hard to see into? I'm here trying to cook my Hot Pocket. All I see is a light source, a grid on the glass, and something turning inside. Thanks.
I think if you could see it, the radiation would be able to melt your eyeballs out of your head.
Bob's going to go with science, and I don't blame him.
Well, I can see it
I
in my...
did see the episode of South Park where Randy Marsh put his testicles in the microwave and got testicle cancer so he could smoke pot.
Right. Isn't that the one where the balls were so big, he had to use the wheelbarrow?
Well, no, yeah, and after a while they were so big he just used them like, the old ball, the old riding ball.
Yes,
when you were a kid,
yeah, it's to have
and
the
had
handles. Yeah, like the Donald Duck's head and a handle, and you would just bounce
you
around
used
the
to
house.
bounce around the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did see
Yeah,
one.
that episode.
Look at my balls, Kern. All right, so I don't know. I think that's probably so you don't realize how messy it is until you open it. Maybe they're doing you a favor so that your guests.
That's just why it's on ours.
Well, then let's put some tint on it too. But maybe that's.
I just tried to hose it out the other day.
Ooh, lemon wedge in a cup of
When
water.
you go to open the door and something inside pulls the back closed.
See,
That's a
time-
good.
it's
That's a
time to
good
clean.
microwave. That's a good one.
It's about moisture in the atmosphere and the rate at which carbon dioxide burns off.
Right.
And goes up into the
Ed is on
atmosphere.
Wikipedia right now.
I can get
He's
Chad's
actually-
question now.
Ed's trying to sell it to me by
Global
looking me in the
warming
face and remembering.
Al Gore's did a whole movie about it.
Well, I believe
Fuck him.
the doors of perception.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough. Doors of
I believe
precipitation.
the name of that movie that Al Gore did was called The Sky Is Falling.
Probably it.
Yeah,
You had some.
I did. I kind of get Chad's question because I'd like
Yeah.
to see my food fucking get nuked.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
because-
fun, you know what I mean?
Well, it's not only that. It's like sometimes you don't want to leave it in for the whole 45 seconds, but if you could visually see it, you could make a better judgment of when to stop it.
Well, you follow the instructions. Unless you're reheating, then you're like, all right.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It's that, and also too, sometimes instructions are like, depending on what altitude you live at, use this method, and then like I don't know what altitude I'm at.
I mean, I like seeing a fucking meatball explode in there. You know what I mean? That's what I fucking
I
like
like hearing
doing.
this.
You know what's
Yeah,
fucking
boom.
bullshit? It's fucking bullshit. They always talk about wattage for a when you're making like popcorn and shit.
Yeah.
But they never put the fucking wattage on the microwave.
Yeah, because there's 3 or 4 different kinds of wattages.
Yeah, you gotta, like,
1100 and 700.
Open it up and like stick your head inside, and it's
yeah.
like, who's gonna fucking want to do that?
You know what you do? You just
Or you gotta turn it around the back, and what if it's mounted to the wall and I can't fucking
You know
check?
what I like to do is I like to just pop open the door, wedge something in the little trigger, turn it on so it stays on. You know what I mean? And then put my hand in and kind of give it a feel like you do with a regular oven. To be like, yeah, that feels hot enough for eggs.
Well, usually
what I
when you
do.
open the door, the information is inside
On the-
just
on the-
before the
On the frame.
yeah, on the frame of it. Yeah.
Yeah, on the door jamb.
Don't give me logic.
Don't tell
I
me.
gotta give you the logic because that's how you find out what wattage it is.
Don't
For
give
fuck's
me
sake.
Yeah, that's like saying that the information on your tire pressure is in the door jamb of your car.
According to Thomas K, we've got facts from the chat room. 1400, 1100, 950, 900, and in the RV, 700.
Well, those
Well,
also-
there's 700 wattage microwaves that
Yeah.
are not in RV.
Yeah,
I had one at work.
Yeah, they're called apartment ones. They're apartment ones.
I like Wesley's answer. The food doesn't want you to see it getting hot for you. The food is shy. It's like having the doors on the dressing room, I guess, you know?
Oh yeah.
Woo-ah. That hot dog really getting himself all plumped up.
Don't put a hot dog in the fucking. You just boil the fucker.
No, you got to put splits in it.
Yeah, you just
It's
gotta
nasty, though. Like,
Slice it down the middle.
the first time I ever saw a microwave in use, like we didn't have one in my house for a while growing up as a kid, but at my friend's house, he's like, "Oh, let's nuke up some hot dogs real quick," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "We're gonna nuke some hot dogs." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" He's like, "The microwave." I'm like, "Oh." I just never heard someone say, "I'm going to nuke some food." Like, so as a kid, I was
Yeah.
like, "That's not good." Like, what are you talking about? Then he's making slits in the hot dog, and I'm watching through the window, like, you
Yeah,
know, them all
yeah.
do their weird little dance and shit.
They're nasty tasting.
And I was
though, in the
like,
fucking
I
microwave.
don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Just put them in the boiling water.
That's it. How long, you know? How much time? What
When it
kind of
boils,
rush?
it's
know?
done.
How impatient can you be? You know what I mean?
Honestly,
Right.
you put the dogs in the fucking lukewarm water.
No,
you make it boil, and it's done.
I like when you broil it.
Well,
You
listen,
get a
listen,
nice little char on
Well,
it.
I see. I like a little crisp, a little
listen,
burnt.
listen.
I like
if we're
that.
gonna do it, we do it right. Yeah, it's on a grill.
Yeah.
Just put them in the toast oven.
Toaster oven's the greatest invention since the wheel.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Put everything in that motherfucker.
I put everything on that motherfucker. You know who's got the next one? Chad Rose. He's got two.
Hey, Chad, how's it going?
How's it going, eh?
This one's tonight. I will be playing the UJ drinking game. That's every time Jay says cash, I'll be drinking a shot of
I said it a
vodka.
couple times already.
Yeah. You want to give him one right now?
Cash.
You want to give him a nice long one? So it
Would
takes
you?
a long
Would the,
sip?
you have to do a double shot when I say trash because I did say that earlier. Too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? If any of you guys want to come up with the Wicked Theory drinking game, just come up with a list.
I
know,
I've
Ed,
been through
I
this
know,
before.
I
It gets risky.
It gets risky.
You have to do a shot of vodka every time I channel Rooker.
And what we'll do is if we get a couple of them, we'll kind of like turn them into one.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll set up the rules officially.
Yeah,
one
like
day.
if Todd McFarlane shows up, finish your drink.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Please.
Because that only happens like once a year.
Because he can't keep it all down. You know, sometimes it leaks out the side of his face. All right.
I watched his YouTube video of him drawing Adam West. Did you see that?
No.
It's hilarious.
I bet it is.
But-
Listen to him talk probably during it.
But it was
is
a
the
pretty
thing.
damn good sketch, though.
Oh,
I
I'm
gotta
sure.
say.
I'm sure. Well, the thing is, you kind of forget that Todd's actually got some good, probably rendering skill of likenesses. You know what I mean? Because you never get to. He does such exaggerated faces in general. that-
It was actually incredible just to watch him. You know what I mean? But when he's talking, it's just the shit he says.
What's that? Put a line over here. Put a line over there. That's pretty good.
Shoop, 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 shoop.
He's making the noises, right? Making the noises.
Shoop, and we go shoop. Yeah, and he was a very handsome guy.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't know about Adam West.
He did say that.
I'm sure he probably did.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance, watch that. It's pretty recent. It happened a couple weeks ago.
All right. So, hey, Wesley did manage to get an email in. How about that? Just under the wire.
Go Wesley.
Go, Wesley. Hey, you gentlemen. Okay, Bob, last week you said you didn't want to be called a gentleman, so what would you prefer to be called?
Motherfuckers.
Oh wow. I don't know.
Well, this one's directed at Bob specifically.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay, Bob, you said you didn't
You
want
have
to
the
be called
floor,
a
Bob.
gentleman.
Lord Bob.
Well,
Lord.
just in case you thought he didn't like, the title, it wasn't enough of a title.
Yes. Exactly.
Gotcha. Lord Gentleman Robert of Sweeney.
And don't forget the sir in the beginning.
There you go, sir. Well, yeah, you got to get
Sir
knighted.
Lord.
We're not knighting anybody.
Your lordship.
Lord Uncle of Jay.
Bobrick. That's his full name. Bobrick.
Bobrick.
That becomes
Baron.
a thing, Bill. That becomes a
I'm
thing.
sorry.
Baron Bobrick.
Baron Bobrick of Sweensville.
You ever tried doing that, like, son of father or something like that? Like, like for me, it would be Edward, son of James, son of Edward,
Oh, the whole
which gets kind of weird.
The 6th Earl of Chickalese.
The whole Game of Thrones
Yeah.
fucking
Well, then for me it would be Robert, son of Buster.
Yeah.
son of Buster.
Aragorn, son of Arathorn.
That was Grandpa's nickname.
I am William Lord of Zilch. All right. So next question is what?
Or Robert John, son of Robert, son of John.
There you go. With great movies coming out earlier and earlier every year, what time period do you think is considered a summer movie now?
The first week of May.
January 1st.
I mean, to me, it's May through August, but
But,
now it's like
Creeping into April.
I think it's
April, even
Deadpool.
March.
No, Deadpool.
February.
That's well,
Deadpool
see,
hit
but no, but
February.
that's the thing. That to me is a
Valentine's Day.
that to me is a winter spring movie.
And I feel like, you know
It did
what?
$850 million at the
It
box
doesn't matter
office.
how much it makes. It matters what
It
time of
made-
the year they release it.
And I think it's coming
But
to
it
back to
made summer money. That's the point.
I
He's
think-
asking when does summer start now?
But you know, but
summer
the
starts when the first blockbuster hits.
yeah, but the three biggest movies of all time are all released in the winter.
Well, to call
At
it the
Christmas
summer
time.
film
All right, which
era,
kinda
it used to
yeah.
be late May
Yeah.
into late
Like
August.
Yeah, like Memorial Day into
now
August.
it's May, the first week of May and the last week of August. It's
They used to be-
considered the
I-
summer.
yeah.
And it
Yes.
was a very literal kind of period of time all the studios kind of went with, and it was easy to see the marker. Now, what
Yeah.
Bob's pointing
Oh, yeah.
out, which is a good point, is that the marker is blending because now in these dead months, quote unquote, that they were for years and years and years, people are willing to put out movies that they think will have a real
Yeah.
good chance,
Well,
and they
let's-
are succeeding.
Right.
Well,
So
yeah.
it's blurring the line.
Didn't
But see, Marvel did it right, though, because Marvel actually started to creep it into April. They did that
Yeah,
with
Captain America: Winter Soldier, I think.
and the yes,
But didn't
yes
we get
they
that
did.
this year in March with Guardians of the Galaxy? When did that one come out?
That was
again?
May.
That was
That kicked off the summer.
And I'll bring this back to what Bob said first, which was that January. Because what's happened is that the summers now have blended in the beginning, they blended in at the back, where it doesn't almost make a difference anymore.
'cause if-
because
it used to be-
all year round you can put a movie out anywhere.
Yeah, you're getting Marvel movies in November. In the middle of the summer, you get them in the beginning of the spring.
So it should just go back to a time period. It should be
De-
June.
Deadpool made almost $1 billion all by itself.
Yeah.
It should be
in
June, July,
February.
August.
It used to be if a movie was crap, they released it in September or January. 'Cause
Right.
those were like dumping grounds.
Well, not really September, because September was trying to get Oscar-baited stuff out.
Right.
That would
Yeah.
be the beginning of,
Yeah.
You
like
get some
Oscar-baited
early
stuff.
ones would start coming out in September.
but that was only, that was only from like the 90s on to now.
Yeah, I think basically what they've learned is if a movie's good, it doesn't matter when you release it, people are going to go
Right.
see it.
Right.
It's going to make money, which I think, also a lot of people are moving out of the summer because they feel like it's too crowded, and that's why you have movies showing up in February and March.
Because January wasn't always a dead month. Before 1990, they were
Yeah.
releasing stuff that would get nominated.
Yeah,
in
I think
January.
like Jaws came out in like March or April.
No, Jaws was June. That was like dead of.
Yeah, that was
Well,
beginning,
just
summer.
beginning of the
Jaws
summer movie.
traveled. It was different then because it would move from. Okay, you're right. It was June, but it moved from city to city. It wasn't.
It was in theaters.
So
for
it doesn't
almost 2
matter.
years though.
So what we're saying is ultimately it doesn't matter anymore. No?
No, it doesn't matter.
No, you can put a blockbuster in fucking January. People are gonna go. It's different now.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
This is the last question. What movie what movie and TV show have you seen the most? Is there anything that stands out like that for you? So I think easy out for Ed and Bob, maybe Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then that counts movies as well. Like what's a movie that that you've watched like a lot?
Movie that I've watched
Or
like
a TV show.
over and over and over and over and over again.
No, just 3 overs. 4 is too many.
Well, I've seen The Outlaw Josie Wales like 5 times. A Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a
a lot
Fistful of Dollars More.
the Clint
You know,
Westerns.
the old Clint spaghetti westerns.
Sure.
Whenever they were on,
Yeah,
I'm watching them.
Because like
Sorry.
when I was a kid,
Sure.
I was watching
Right with you.
the Christopher Reeve Supermans, all of them,
Yeah.
and the '89 Batman. But that's like from like the age of 3 on.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is a movie. That whole trilogy I would watch
Sure.
over and over again.
Sure.
And go back to there's an old timey, and this shows you how weird
Old timey.
the kid was. 1941 serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel, which is where I
yeah.
fell in love with that character.
That's where it was.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember seeing an episode or 2 of that when I was a kid.
but you know what? It's
There
the-
was a 70s show, but you saw the black and white
I saw the
series?
black and
Okay.
white.
yeah, black and
Very
white.
It looked like he was wearing several shades of white. in his suit.
Fair enough.
But you know what? And you look back, and most people laud that as the greatest chapter serial of all time. It's like that and Flash Gordon. Yeah, I'm serious.
All right. No, I just don't
if I
ever
remember
hear it
correctly,
mentioned like that. I mean,
Captain Marvel wasn't as corny as Flash Gordon was.
No.
You know,
No,
so it
and-
was a little more serious.
Which was weird because it's a huge departure from the comics. like he throws people off rooftops. Like there's one point where like he's you know, and it's a bunch of white guys in turbans in the beginning in the,
Sure.
like, the first chapter or two, where he like comes down on a bunch of people and they all start running away, and he picks up their machine gun and mows them down with it.
it's good for the kids. Kids love
Oh
that
yeah,
shit.
but that's
He was
you know,
killing commies, man.
What about you,
great.
Jay?
What's a TV show that
Yeah,
I?
like, well, both. You know, but what's a TV show that you think you've seen the most? What's the show that you've maybe like watched through a couple times, or more than you should have?
Well, maybe not more than I should have, but I still watch All in the Family, which was a show that I grew up with,
Okay.
and I still love. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Sure.
As far as movies, my that's a generic answer because it's probably Star Wars, the original trilogy.
Right.
But in the same breath, probably everything Scorsese's done.
Okay.
Definitely his mafia stuff.
All of that stuff.
Over and
probably.
over. Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Mean Streets
Yeah.
is one of my favorite movies ever. You know, so yeah.
For
There's a
me,
reason why they're my top
Sure.
5 films.
Yeah.
I have my favorites that all tie it in number 1.
Right.
I watch them over and over and over again.
I think for me, for TV shows, it's probably X-Files. It's probably Lost.
Really?
Yeah, it was X-Files for a while, probably, and then like Lost, because I would watch the show, and then I would get the box sets and rewatch, and then like sometimes I go back again and rewatch.
And you still do it. You still read.
No, not anymore.
Oh,
but I
no?
mean, there was this phase where it was like, you know, once the show was over, then I started rewatching again, and then like all of a sudden it popped up online. So I got a few episodes, you know what I mean? Just got a few episodes into it, and then the same thing happened with X-Files. Like when I stumbled on it, I was like, all right, well, I don't want to rewatch the whole series, but let me like go through the good episodes of each season kind of thing. And then for movies, it's tough. It's either Reservoir Dogs or Memento. And I couldn't really tell you which one I've seen more, but if, you know, outside of like maybe like rewatching shit because you're a little kid and you rewatch things to death, those two.
Not Fight Club.
Oh, right, Fight Club.
Usual Suspects.
No, not Usual Suspects, but Fight Club, but yeah, Fight Club, Memento, or Reservoir Dogs.
See, being a movie
probably
fan-
though Memento
See, like,
or Reservoir
yeah,
Dogs.
see, like I'm thinking of stuff like when I was a little kid. Like you
Yeah.
asked me, like you know, when I was in college, it was Usual Suspects and The Prestige,
Right,
and Zodiac.
Well, I'm not.
Those-
Well, I mean, you know, when I say I'm not saying because a little kid, I just mean like, you know, I know there were certain movies I watched because we had one. We didn't have a lot of stuff on tape around the house all the time, so it's like, yeah, we'd watch a couple of these things all the time. Actually, you know what I probably watched too much? The damn Infiltrator with Scott Bakula, because I had that thing on tape.
Wow, I remember that.
Go look that up, kids. CBS Midsummer TV show theater or whatever the fuck it was called.
Right, it was like
CBS
it was
Summer
like pilots
Theater.
for stuff that they were not
Passing
sure
on.
about. They were
Yeah.
passing on otherwise, but they wanted to use the pilots for some reason. Trying
Trying to burn them off. And
See, being a movie fan, you know,
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies and I watch them over again.
yeah, sure.
So I mean, there's about a
Considering
good.
which ones I've seen literally the most is probably hard for a guy like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
you know.
which I'm saying it's probably Star Wars because going back to childhood,
Yeah,
that's
and
what I
since
watched
then-
over and over. Then,
Right.
I mean, I know that Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction have gotten many
Sure.
repeated viewings
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
me. You know what I mean? Shawshank is another one. So is
yeah.
Unforgiven and Natural Born
awesome
Killers
movie.
and stuff
You
like
know,
that.
I'm checking out now.
Cheerleader Tryouts Volume 7 was pretty good.
Or
I mean,
Cheerleader Camp.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Infiltrator was episode 12 of CBS Summer Playhouse.
Playhouse,
from
Summer Playhouse.
1987.
There you go, folks. Look that up.
Originally aired August 14th, 1987.
You know, and hey, you know,
coming up on
Scott
30
Bakula
years.
as a cyborg dude, you know, how can he not like it? You know what I mean?
Brian Cranston did a film last year called The Infiltrator that was really fucking cool. You ever see it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
Yes, it did. John Leguizamo is great. Part of it's a little shaky,
It's-
but overall I liked it.
It's pretty solid,
Yeah.
you know, for what it was. It didn't do very well, but I enjoyed it.
Let's give that thing a test real quick. You want to hit play on it?
Okay, just a little.
Yeah.
bit.
Set
Just
yourself
a
up. Whatever you gotta
taste.
do. I gotta set myself up over here a little bit too.
Ready?
Yeah, give a play because I'm just gonna bring it up and then bring it down. All right, you can kill it.
Okay.
All right. So with that, folks, we are heading to the end of the show for the main show, and then you'll hear a little bit of the DC TV report from Ed this week.
Yes.
And,
By the way, check out our season wrap up.
That's right.
2 parts.
2 parts.
2 parts. Sarah Netzley and Stephanie Muniz. We had a fun time. It was a lot of fun.
About an hour and a half each.
Yeah.
Check the descriptions if you want to see which shows we cover in which half. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you just want to hear what the show you watch. That's cool too. But we had a lot of fun.
Yes.
So you might miss out on some chuckles here or there. So
yeah.
I'm not saying you got to listen to all of it,
Yes.
but we did it for you.
And some people listening to the who were guests on the show,
Right.
were convinced to recap shows they might have given up on. So even if you're not,
Right.
even if you're not watching some of these shows,
Right.
just check it out just to see.
Yeah, just to see how those people play along.
Yeah.
See what they do. I may be one of them.
See,
See if I unleash again when we bring up the Flash. that alone is worth your price of admission. Flash! All right, and then
Drink up, Chad.
Let's go around the table, tell people where and when and how they can find us. Jay, where can people find you?
In a gutter in Newark somewhere.
That's probably true. Ed, where can people find you? How about
Actually,
Twitter?
a gutter outside a bar.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, there
In my
you
own
go.
puke.
on Twitter, Jay. On Twitter.
On Twitter. Oh, okay. So it's gutter trash at Twitter. No, Uncle Jay at Jason Chigolese on Twitter.
There you go, Ed.
I am at Edward O'Hare TBD.
Okie dokie then, and then Bob.
At Bob WTPC.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at Wicked Theory. The show is at wickedtheory.com.
Fair enough.
It's all good. I like it. Fair enough. You can find the show on Google, Stitcher, Play Music, and wherever good podcasts are given away for free.
That's right, boy.
Check us out wherever, whatever. Almost
Cheesecake.
Almost got through. Like
No,
98%. We were 98% Rooker free.
I rookered in about 12 minutes in.
No, I know. That's why I was
I
like,
rookered.
we were at 98. Now
Book
we're
of
down to
Henry.
like 9. Now every moment we go by, it's dropping. Now we're like 94% Rooker free.
Are we done?
Sure, Bob, take us out of here.
The Wicked Theory podcast is heard live every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern until whenever. Just go to mixler.com/wicked-theory. Mixler is MIXLR. Sign up to join the chat. Then click the follow button to get reminders whenever the show goes live. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever good podcasts are given away for free, and at wickedtheory.com. You can support the show at patreon.com/wickedtheory. There you can get the after show if you miss it live. God forbid. Plus other exclusive episodes. As always, send your emails to podcast@wickedtheory.com.